From downtown, this is Tim Kitzer from NBA Jam, and you're listening to NintenDomain Podcast. Boom shakalaka!
This week in NintenDomain, there is actually a Switch 2. It's been confirmed. And Endless Ocean is not the worst game there is.
All right, if this is really what the Pacific Northwest is like, I don't want to drive here.
I made us an AI theme song.
Please don't make me listen to that. Welcome to NintenDomain Podcast, episode 421. Your place to hear Nintendo fans talk about Nintendo news. We finally have some Nintendo news to talk about. And we are your hosts. I'm Trey. Didn't have enough time to download and play the AW DLC today, Johnson.
Wow. Well, much like you're a skipper of that, I'm a blind skipper. Jeremy Blind Skipper Mikowski.
I'm John. Look, I'm a musician now, knitter.
You're not a musician, just the evil AI is.
Oh, I made it. I made that song.
You clicked on a thing.
With prowess and skill.
You pushed a button. I'm so tired of AI stuff. So tired.
That sounds like something an AI would say.
I mean, they'll say whatever you tell them to.
It's true.
So yeah, there was should just jump into news at the top here. Why not?
News. Don't snooze or you miss the news.
There was an investors meeting thing with Nintendo, and they've confirmed officially that there's a Switch 2, even though they didn't call it that. They just said there was a successor, so it's really not at full. I mean, I guess they're like, yeah, we're working on another thing. We'll show it to you at some point in the next fiscal year, which could be anywhere until May of 2025. So I'm guessing that it's probably going to be they're going to show something towards the end of the year. That's what I think. I think it's still on track from what the rumors were.
I think you can look at the information release pattern of the Switch and apply it here. We all know it's gonna come out in 2025. It's not gonna wait till the next fiscal year or whatever. Like it'll be out around March, the same time that the Switch was. So just like from here on out, I think it's pretty safe to look at the exact release pattern of information and expect it to be according to that.
Well, the other one was a little different, I guess, because they didn't say the Switch was coming. They said they were making a successor to Wii U, which is like, well, yeah, duh. They make a successor to every system they ever do. They said that in March of 2015, right? But they said that you won't see anything about it until next year. And then we saw the official Switch trailer in October, in like almost end of October. I think it was October 20 something. And then we had the Switch in March. So, I mean, I think it's going to be a similar thing, except it won't be next year. It'll be this year. Like maybe we'll see a trailer for Switch 2 in October of this year. Something like that. That's what I think. And then it'll release in March of next year. That's what I think. I don't know. Who knows? But they did all that stuff. Do you guys have thoughts about that? I mean, it's just kind of like a well-duh thing, but at least Nintendo actually acknowledged that they were making another system.
Yeah, I think that was the big news, is that for the longest time people were getting frustrated because there wasn't even like a hint of an acknowledgement, and that's exactly what this was. It was a hint of an acknowledgement. No real.
Well, Nintendo always
it's an announcement for an announcement.
Nintendo famously always says that they're always looking at new hardware capabilities or solutions and stuff like that. So technically they always kind of soft confirm that they're working on something new. So this does kind of stand aside when it actually gives a timeline of within the fiscal year, which just restarted, right?
Yeah. The fiscal year, would have ended, I don't know, but beginning of May or end of April, seems like. I mean, this is when they're having their fiscal year talk. So I would guess
right. So
the end of the fiscal year would be around this time next year.
We will announce the new hardware.
They did.
So yeah, I don't know. That is fairly new, but they could also, like, now they've got to do damage control. If it gets pushed back, they'll have to be like, sorry, it's not ready yet. And people will be fine with it, but usually they don't delay hardware, right? Hardware doesn't really get delayed with Nintendo.
I mean, they even though people thought that the Switch was delayed, they only thought it was delayed because they had their own idea of when it was coming out. And then when they actually announced the date, they were like, "Oh my god, it's delayed." It's like, well, it can't be delayed if they never actually said when it was coming out. So I don't know. I'm sure they've delayed hardware before. I mean, they delay everything.
I remember the N64 was supposed to come out in 95 and came out in 96, but that's going way back.
Did it?
Yep.
I always thought 64 was pretty quick, like, because I remember getting, I mean, we barely had internet back then, so it was like I remember getting a tape from Nintendo Power that was like, "Hey, Nintendo 64," and it was out like next week. Is at least what I felt like. I guess
tapes were the internet.
Yeah, they sent me a cassette tape with like footage of Pilot Wings and Shadows of the Empire and all that stuff in there, and I think that was the one that had, the GoldenEye with the different bonds, which people say is fake, but it's not, because I've seen it. It's on the Nintendo Power video.
Huh.
It's real. And I actually found footage of it, and I remember posting it on the Slack way back when. It is a real thing. But yeah, whatever.
Back in 96 or whatever.
Whenever they sent that video out, which was 96 probably. Because it had a little sizzle reel at the end, I think, even. It was either that one or it was the Star Fox one. But I thought it was earlier than that. I thought it might have gone back to even the very first 64 like advertisement cassette that Nintendo Power sent out. But anyway, yeah, Switch 2 happening for sure. And there seems to be like more stuff trickling out from the president as well, from what I've seen. He's saying that they will use the same Nintendo account. I mean, who knows how much of that they will. Hopefully it'll just roll everything over. Like if they're using our same account, then why not? Don't make us rebuy the same games. And as we've said many times, just keep the Nintendo Switch Online the same as it is. Just roll it over to the next system.
Yep. Number one thing that I want the most, just keep everything the same as part of the online service. Make it all modern, in line with everything else. That's it. If they do that, cool. Another interesting point, which kind of slipped through the cracks. I didn't hear too many people talking about it, but they used interesting language around the Switch, the Switch 2, excuse me.
It was all Esperanto. That's what they spoke in during the whole time. It's very interesting language. William Shatner loved it.
But they're trying to keep everything top secret. Yes. Yeah. So, no, they said they described the Switch's successor as the Switch's quote unquote next model, which sounded to me almost like a slip.
That is a weird, that is a weird way to say it, right? Because that makes you think that the Switch Pro does exist, and here it is, and it's coming out sometime.
Right.
Yeah. Right.
I just think that's like somebody misspeaking and speaking their own thoughts on it. You know what I mean? Like this is another pointing to this being an evolution. Yeah. Not a revolution.
Yeah. I mean, we talked about it before. Yeah. How it's like, every, they have they have like the Nintendo and the Super Nintendo and the Game Boy and the Game Boy Color and the Game Boy Advance and the DS, the 3DS, 64, GameCube, like Wii U, whatever. But they still had some sort of differences to them. But I mean, the Wii U or the Switch has sold like what 141 million copies or something like that. Like, don't break, don't fix it if it ain't broke. Just keep it the same. Make it make the graphics a little bit better. Let it run the games that are already on there better, and you'll be all right.
Yeah, not only did it surpass that many sales, it actually surpassed the combined profits of all other eras of Nintendo.
Not the Game Boy, or not the DS.
So this is according to Nintendo Life. So they said Nintendo reveals that its profits from the Switch generation have surpassed the combined profits of all other eras.
I was gonna say that. I mean, the Nintendo DS sold a shit ton. We talked about it in our Patreon episode.
Talking about the profits, though, not the unit sales. They're talking about.
Oh, okay. Like I was gonna say, definitely not the whole. I mean, not the unit sale because
game library and all that stuff. Yep.
Well, they still haven't broken the record of Nintendo DSs sold, because Nintendo DSs they sold 154 million. So they're still like 13 million behind that. So there's no way that they would have sold the amount of everything in the Switch. Maybe because it's more expensive and inflation or something.
because the market is much bigger than it was 15 years ago.
Are they talking about software sales and not like
they're talking about profits overall from this generation.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was saying it's definitely not systems because I was like, I know they
might even be including like
I know they didn't break the DS numbers
from like movies and stuff, right? And are they including like merchandise revenue?
I'm not sure if they're including movies or whatnot.
I mean, if they're including, Mario made a shit ton of money, so I mean, I'm sure they're including.
It also makes sense. I think if they're like before, you had the 3DS and the Wii U, and you always had the handheld and the console system. And I think like just counting this as like one system now, like one giant generation, it's lasted longer and sold more than those two, which would have been split it up,
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, the Game Boy lasted for like 10 years, right? I mean, that thing stuck around forever. I feel like before they, but before, I mean, it was definitely past 10 years because Pokemon didn't come out in the U.S. until 97, and that was almost 10 years for the game because the Game Boy came out in 89. So, I mean, I don't know. That's like 8 years. But, yeah, I don't know. Yeah, maybe because I know the software sale is done really well, obviously. And I looked at some of the numbers. Tears of the Kingdom still couldn't break the Breath of the Wild amount, and Wonder still. I mean, it did fine, but it didn't do as well as you probably thought it would. I guess it didn't beat Super Mario Brothers U Deluxe. It was lower than that. It was pretty low in the chain. Wow. I think it was like 18 or something. It was down there. I think it was only like 11 million or something like that, which is low, I think, for that. I don't know.
That's surprising that it didn't beat Super Mario Brothers U Deluxe.
It didn't.
That's kind of a shame.
I mean, U Deluxe was actually in the top 10. I think it was higher than Tears of the Kingdom even. But maybe that was just because when the Switch was newer, that came out sooner, and more people went for that because that was the only 2D Mario game available,
And a lot of folks were happy with that. Oh, that's the Mario on the Switch. Cool. It
was the only 2D one that wasn't like Mario Maker, right? I didn't even see Mario Maker on there as far as like stuff that was sold. Maybe they just don't mention that one anymore.
Oh, Mario Maker.
Yeah.
I'm holding a candle for Mario Maker 3.
I mean, it could still happen. But what we should talk about, speaking of games that were announced, should call up our old buddy Rich. I gotta find his number somewhere. We talked to
I was
him.
wondering that too.
Yeah.
Rich I haven't seen Rich online in years.
Yeah. I was going to try to see if I could get in contact with him. But yeah, this, we talked to one of the original Nintendo World Championship contestants at Midwest Gaming Classic. We did an interview with him. I don't know if it's on the Patreon, or it's on the regular feed. I don't know. Look up Midwest Gaming Classic, see if you can find it or not. I think it's probably on the regular feed. But yeah, he was cool. We talked to him about it, and I thought about that because now they're releasing a Nintendo World Championship NES edition or whatever it's called. To me, it looks like this is the next NES remix, but minus like, flipping stuff around. Like you can't beat Bowser as Peach anymore or whatever. That's kind of what I see it for. It's like kind of sort of the spiritual successor because you have like the same games in there that were in NES Remix 1 and 2. It's pretty much the same, but now you can compete online.
Yeah, it looks like a more I don't know, focused version of that. Like I think the sort of spirit of the Nintendo World Championships, whatever, was kind of in those NES remix games, but like somebody probably floated the idea, hey, we got this kind of thing that would be perfect for talking about the Nintendo World Championships or whatever. And folks, there's a lot of curiosity around that. that's one of the most expensive video game cartridges in existence. And what if we like make a neat little package? And I think that there's going to be a lot of interest in that. And man, people like, I'm so surprised that they actually have put together an enticing package for one of these like fan centric products rather than just like shitting out a 3D Mario All Stars or whatever it was.
Yeah.
Like back in the Wii era. Remember when we were excited about the Super Mario All Stars being on the Wii? and then it ended up being like a pamphlet that comes with it, and that was it. Like
it was just
there
a
was
game,
a CD, maybe. Yeah, there was a CD too, but you know, anybody can copy some songs onto a CD. They're finally doing it kind of right. Like, I'm pretty excited about this. Looks cool.
I do think the Japanese one looks way better because you get the you get the Famicom controllers, which even if you bought the Famicom Mini, the controllers were really tiny because they had to fit on the top of the system because that's the way the Famicom was. It had the controllers attached to the top. So these don't really exist. So you could get little handheld Famicom controllers, and they have you can slide them on the side of your Switch and all that. I think that's way cooler, and you can get cards of the Japanese covers of all the games that are on there, which is really rad. So I mean, I probably won't get the physical for either of them, but I do think the Japanese one is really cool, just because of the Famicom controllers not existing before, and I like the way the Japanese covers look more than the American covers. So.
I thought this was interesting how this just kind of came out of nowhere today, because it really didn't kind of come out of nowhere. My suspicion is that they were planning on saving this for the Direct, but then
maybe
the ESRB leaked it by accident 2 or 3 days ago.
Well, don't forget our friend, well, maybe your friend, maybe not. A lot of people seem to hate them, but Pioro leaked it a long time before the ESRB did. He leaked it a couple weeks ago, so it was I think
once the ESRB has put it on their website, it's kind of okay, let's get control of this.
Yeah, but
I saw stuff about it, but before, but I guess hopefully a lot of people were like me and weren't paying too much attention to it. I thought maybe it was just going to be on the NES Online, they were going to put the ROM of the 1990 championship, because you could play that at MGC, and I don't know if you've ever played it, John. I think you can download the ROM as well, but we were able to play one.
We could probably play it on our phones, right?
Right. But I thought maybe they were just going to add that ROM to the NSO, and then, you could compare your score with your friends or whatever just through that. So I was surprised by what it actually turned out to be. Something very unlike that at all, to be honest.
Yeah. What do you guys think of what it turned out to be? I guess we've never really.
I thought it was an NES
really
Remix, Part 3, right?
Yeah, it definitely looks like the evolution of NES Remix. I'm getting the physical edition. Absolutely, I think that's a really pretty cool package. My only disappointment with that is that it's not actually a functioning NES cart. I mean, they haven't said one way or the other. They just said it's a replica cart.
It isn't. I mean,
it will not be.
According that it is.
According to the internet, it says people have already said it won't be. Nintendo has never done that. They've never released a cart that would work on the original NES. And if you look at the way the game looks, you can't have that on NES.
All like it.
It's way too.
The closest they've done is releasing a GameCube controller nearly 20 years later. But
I would have thought. I mean, but they could have, put out this new game, but then also paired it with a replica of the old World Championships. That would have been cool. I wish they would have done that instead. But sure, I'll take a plastic NES cart that does nothing. I don't know. I wonder if it's a case for the game or something, or if it has some kind of.
I mean,
I doubt it.
You could probably.
It sounds like it's just a tchotchke.
You could probably take it apart and put the game in there, whether it's a case for it or not. You could just.
I'm sure somebody will
pull it apart and jam it in there. Whatever. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I see this as something that John would play a lot because of the online online competition stuff. I feel like you would put a whole bunch of hours into this. I'm sure both of you will. Because you love playing those old Mario games. I mean,
you can include yourself in there now. I mean, you play F-Zero 99. You're an online person now.
Yeah, but F-Zero 99 is a Super Nintendo game, not an NES game. So I mean,
I will probably play this, but I was a little. I'm not going to lie. I was a little put off when I found out it was an actual game and not something that was going to be on Nintendo Online or whatever. That was part of the service.
Are you a little put off by the $30 price tag? I know some people are kind of upset about that too.
Yes, I am.
And it's $60. The physical is $60, but you get stuff with it. But yeah, I did see people online being like $30 for a game you'll play for 10 minutes. Which
I'm a collector of Nintendo stuff, but I don't know what this is yet. It has Nintendo games in it, but is the actual package any good?
It's
I
got
haven't played it
like
yet.
what are they're saying it's got 13 NES cartridges in there, but I'm pretty sure it's going to have the same ones that were in NES Remix. So it's like the newest
It's
one.
going to be like that, and it's going to be like the levels in WarioWare probably.
Yeah, I mean, it's like I guess the thing that really that really intrigues me is I guess I want to see what's in there for Metroid and Kirby. I guess those are the two games that I'm like, oh, well, those games are cool. But also,
And I
it's
didn't
like
play.
it's like how much depth this is going to have to it. Aside
I
from
didn't play
like
multiplayer NES Remix. Was that a thing?
I don't remember. Maybe I don't remember if it was because I never did.
Because I will say one thing that it did get me a little excited seeing it was just reminding me of Mario 35.
Yeah,
Seeing people play Mario at the same time on the same screen, I was like, well, at least it's got that going for it.
and you can play like 8 players at once. Like you could go like Smash Brothers at 8 players at once. So on the TV on one Switch. So that's
what if there
cool.
is like an unlockable
8
like
players
race to the whole
locally?
Game of Mario 1? That'd be pretty sweet. Like, what if they did like you unlocked entire games and you could like speed run them together on the same screen?
Oh, that'd be cool.
Yeah, they did.
They include all the other games in there.
I mean, I don't think Nintendo did it directly, but they've done. There's been competitions where people play through like Mario 1, like with multiple TVs, right? I'm pretty sure.
No,
I
know that's a thing. I just
Yeah.
think it'd be cool if it was just like built into it. And the
Yeah.
competition could be like taken to that level, and maybe even make it customizable, like Smash Bros. In a bit that way. Like, what levels do you want to use, or what power ups are going to be available on the level, and stuff like that.
Yeah. I guess we don't know like everything that'll be included with it. So
Mhm.
yeah, so it would be cool if they did something like that, and hopefully
I
will.
hope that they take all the expertise that they've gained with Tetris 99, F-Zero 99, all these games that are facing universal acclaim. I'm throwing Super Mario Brothers 35 in there as well. Like they've done it right. So if they take some of that spirit and mix it in there with the NES Remix franchise, having the online be robust and player centric and responsive to people's critiques and all that stuff, like that'd be awesome. I'm excited for this. We'll see.
A lot of it looked to me like a lot of it was like time scores and stuff, and it's like, how long is that going to be fun for? Like if it's all just like time attack stuff, you know what I mean? Whereas like Mario 35, you could like kill a character, and it would show up in somebody else's screen. Like I feel like there's a lot more depth to that than just trying to get through the first level in whatever time. Like you can only do that so many times, and that still be fun. You know what I mean? Like I don't know, that's what I'm afraid of, where that can kind of get old pretty quickly. Like they should make whatever you do, whatever you're doing, like against other people online, it should be more unique than just time trials, I think.
I agree.
Because there would have to be like score and stuff, right? Obviously. I feel like when I watched the trailer, all it showed was time trials. Was like doing thing in a certain amount of time. So I don't know.
Seems like
it definitely shows that championships exist the way that things went in Mario 35, and like I don't think we've seen it. I guess no, that's not true. It is in F-Zero, so it's going to be like F-Zero 99 with like there's always new like championships, so to speak, happening. I thought it was really cool. They brought some. I mean, it was cheesy, but I still thought it was cool. They brought somebody back to be like, well, they brought multiple people back from the original championship, but like, what? It's in my living room. What?
I honestly thought it was going to be like a documentary or something. Like halfway through it, I'm like,
I thought maybe they're going limited.
Is this the Nintendo World Championship movie, the documentary?
I think there might be more
like
live video than there is gameplay footage in this trailer for sure.
Or even they would go like the route of like karateka and that sort of thing, right? Is that what you're gonna say, John? Yeah.
That's what I was going to say. That would be cool. It's not too late. You still have a month, if you want to squeeze that in there.
It's July, cool. Right? We got 2 months.
2 months, yeah.
Like end of July, right? I think was it beginning or end? I don't remember.
I think it was July 18th. Yes, it was July 18th.
So middle. Well, yeah, so I mean that's still 2 months from now. We're only on what day is today? The 9th? Or no, the 8th? I don't remember.
Now what I'm hoping, among other things, is that this is not a limited release like Mario 3D All-Stars, or even worse, Super Mario 35. leave this game on the shelf.
Keep it going. Yeah.
They didn't say it, which doesn't mean anything, but they did say that about 3D All Stars, and they said that about Mario 35, that they were going to be unavailable at some point.
They did, but they've never said why. So
it was a really dumb, or like they did the same thing.
It's the Disney Vault. It's the Disney Vault.
Yeah, it's dumb though. It's the same thing with Fire Emblem 1, where it was like only available for a little bit, and now it's just not available. It's like, why? I forget. We were at Best Buy for whatever reason, and I remember whenever I was at Best Buy last, there were some people walking around, and they were talking about how they couldn't find the Super Mario 3D All Stars, and I had to break it to them that you can't buy it anymore. But it was pretty funny. I was like, "Oh yeah, you can't buy it."
Way after the fact. When was this?
It was like the last time I was at Best Buy, which was maybe like this year, when there were people trying to find 3D All Stars.
4 years too late.
If you're at Best Buy trying to buy anything, like, you obviously are out of the loop.
You're not into,
because they don't have shit there. I mean, if you've been to a Best Buy,
you need to buy yourself an internet connection.
It's mostly just dust and empty shelves. Is what I've seen at the Best Buys. They're very sad.
And like very sad. Reps for phone companies and stuff like that.
Yeah, their video game section is very sad. It's just a whole lot of empty shelves and hooks, nothing on there. It's very much like, it's like, why are you even open? I guess you're still selling washing machines.
Best Buy used to be the most exciting place to go, like in my neighborhood. There's not a lot going on in my neighborhood, but so what's true? It was like, what movies are out, what video games are coming out. I would go spend the weekend, 30 minutes at Best Buy, whatever.
I remember how excited I was to find a CD that I liked at Best Buy. I mean, well, more, later in life, in college, like I found a Bus Driver CD at Best Buy, and I was pretty ecstatic about that. Because I was like, oh my God, Bus Driver at Best Buy? Like, why? Nobody's heard of him, because I had heard of him from Tony Hawk, from the soundtrack of Tony Hawk Underground 1. So I figured nobody had heard about him. Yeah, I'm glad it's not limited. I'm a Nintendo shill, so I'll get it. But I'm just curious how much stuff is to it. Like what they should do, like what they do with most of their online games is they should have events that happen, even Endless Ocean has like 2 events this weekend. It has an Endless Ocean event and a Tetris 99 Endless Ocean event. So I mean, that's what they should do with everything. Everything should have a timed event. And Tetris 99 is still getting events. Is still getting new tracks and stuff. Even though I don't know. I mean, there's still people on there, like when I play it. So I don't think people have completely forgotten about it. But it's still getting shit. So I mean, they just need to just support it. Like what was it? Splatoon, I think, just got like a whatever. It had a Splatfest thing just recently. So I mean, just keep it, just add extra stuff to it, and that'll keep it alive.
I have a great idea on how they could support it. They're starting with 15 games. What if that's not it? What if they just keep adding rare fan favorite NES games or NES games from other companies, such as the 2 obvious ones that are missing, which were from the original World Championships, Rad Racer and Tetris. Throw those in there, if you want to like keep the buzz going, add new stuff to it.
Yeah. I don't think we ever had Rad Racer on Virtual Console in any way, the NES game.
I don't think so. I know it's a Square game, but that's a Nintendo game.
But I mean, Tetris, we had Tetris Game Boy on Virtual Console, but not the NES one. We never saw that one on Virtual Console either. So, I mean, I don't know. You got Tetris 99 already. That's all you need. But I don't know. It for me. Yeah, it looks like it looks like the new version of it looks like the spiritual sequel to NES Remix. NES Remix 3 with online. So cool, I guess.
I think it has promise.
Do we even mention that they mentioned a direct? I don't think we talked about that yet.
We did.
No, we didn't. Yeah, they did. They let us know that there's a direct coming in June. They didn't say when, right? They just said in June. But it's kind of like
sometime in June.
It's still that phantom E3 time, right? Like it's still like even though E3 has been dead and gone for many years, it's still kind of the idea of E3.
It always commercially made sense for stuff to happen there, especially for the American market. Like that's our electronic hype for the year.
Well, I mean, June. I guess June is like, it's also like, what is that, like official summertime, or that's a big release time for games. It seems like, right? Normally, so
people have more free time, and they're also like, some people are already shopping for the holidays or planning that stuff.
So cool. I've seen a lot of people posting about like, like, oh, this has to be the one where we'll see Metroid Prime 4, and I hope for that to happen, because really, if you think about it, I've seen, I agree with what most people are saying. If you're going to release Metroid Prime 4, release it now for Switch, not for Switch 2. Because Metroid is not a system seller. But if you want to sell Metroid, put it on a system that 141 million people have. You're going to have more sales as a Switch 1 game than you are as a Switch 2 game. Because Metroid Prime 4...
I think it'll be a bridge title.
Yeah, but it's not going to sell systems. Metroid is not Zelda or Mario or whatever. It's not going to sell Switch 2. Put it on a system that already has an install base, and that's how you sell a Metroid game. I'm just saying, it's very, as much as I love Metroid, it's low tier for Nintendo franchises. It's always been. It's never sold well here or anywhere.
I think that would make sense.
I think it's sold better here than in Japan even. But I mean, it's not really. It's very niche, So even within Nintendo's world, so I think it's better release it here. And then do an upgrade, do a Switch 2 upgrade down the road. Do like a whatever, charge like $10 for it or something, and you can have your Switch 2 version.
I agree with you. I think that would make sense. My only pushback on that is I think that the game is not as far along as a lot of people seem to think. They were still hiring what seemed like important positions for this game. A couple months ago, 6 months ago. I just think it's not that far along. So I don't have hope for it being on the Switch as much as I think that does make sense. But I think it could still be a bridge title. It could still come out for both systems a year from now. People will still be playing Switch a year from now.
Yeah, I mean, I just remember when they announced that Retro was going to do it, they were like, yeah, we'll probably have it done by 2022. That was 2 years ago. So it's like, and we've seen nothing. I mean, I don't know. It's got to be something done. If that's not it, just fucking release Metroid Prime 2 and 3 on Switch. I'll play those and be happy. Just put those on the fucking Direct. I mean, I know you got them. You put 1 on there very, very beautifully. Just put 2 and 3 on there. I'd love to play 2 again with proper analog controls, because 2 is a weird-ass game. And I would love to play that game again. I played it a little bit after I beat Metroid Prime 1. I did a stream of 2. The Metroid Prime Trilogy edition on Wii, and yeah, that game is still weird. Like everything about it is weird. Like all the characters are new; they're different from all the other games, and it has this weird dark world, light world. It's just a strange ass game, and I kind of love it for that. And all the weapons are different from any other Metroid game. Like they totally went off the beaten path for it, and I like to play it in HD, with proper analog controls. So yeah. But I mean, you already made a bingo card. John did.
I did. Yep.
Do you want to talk about any of it? I mean, we're so
sure.
You're so ahead of the game. Like your bingo card's kind of funny because I'm looking at it. I was like, all right, well, this one will already be out. This one will already be out.
Yep.
No, this one will already be out. So I mean, there's some of them the Pac-Man game came out
like a sizzle reel
came out like today.
Yeah, but I think it'll still be out. I think these. I know there were some that are going to be out by the time of the Direct. But I think that they're still going to talk about them because my theory was because we all know there's not a whole lot going on the Switch. So they're going to spend a good portion of this touting what's already there, what's kind of new.
But not stuff that came out a month ago. I don't think. I mean, I think
they would.
I'm pretty sure that
they made a pretty
sure that
big
Pac-Man is not going to be on there. Pac-Man came out today, and it's not going to be in a June Direct.
But I still think that's within the realm of possibility because Namco is a close partner. There's Namco made Smash Brothers, and it is still going to be a new game at a time when there's not a lot happening on the Switch. So I think like that Paper Mario 1,000 Year Door, a couple others
that one will be out for a month too. Well, I mean, I really wouldn't think that wouldn't be on there because that's a remake, and I don't think they're going to add anything update to it. I mean, when they have a Direct, I mean they don't show things that are a month late unless it's like a DLC thing or it's an event or whatever. Like they haven't done that in other Directs. So I mean that's why.
What's a sizzle reel?
Well, yeah, but
They've
even,
done, they've done on the sizzle reel, yeah.
not stuff
They
that
did
was
it
out
for-
a month ago, not on the regular directs, like just to say it's still out. I don't know.
I guess.
Not that I can. I don't remember ever seeing that, unless it was like, oh, here's some more DLC for Splatoon.
I'm thinking of like Mario Wonder. They did it recently for Mario Wonder. I think that was a couple weeks old at that point. But anyway, yeah. So there's those, and then basically I went through the coming soon list. So I won't list the ones that aren't a surprise to anybody, but I do think we'll get nothing from EA again this time, which, although against all odds, last time we got something from EA.
That was a funny one, actually. I did laugh at that just because I don't care about EA, but it's funny to say nothing from EA because why? It's just funny that it's specific to EA. It's like
it's a free space.
It's like what are you waiting for? Mass Effect 4? Like what is
nothing
EA,
from Microsoft?
What does EA do anymore? Anything other than piss people off? They seem to be very hated on the internet.
I have no feelings whatsoever about getting Twilight Princess or Wind Waker on the Switch. I have those games on other systems. I'm not anticipating playing them on the Switch.
But there's still that rumor.
But there's still that rumor, and hey, Nintendo's apparently in a mode of appeasing fans, and there's not a lot going on. So yeah, sure, spend a few months and dust it up and put it out on the Switch.
I'll just say right now, if you do think that that's happening, though, sell your copies of the Legend of Zelda, Twilight Princess HD and Wind Waker HD, because boy, when I was at that retro place in Florence, in Florence, Kentucky, they were selling them for $100 each, opened, not sealed. So those games are going for a price.
Well,
it was at Twilight Princess we're selling for $110, and I was like, "Is this sealed?" And he's like, "No, it's just regular. It's opened," and that was less than most people sell it for. So. Because that's the only one that's the only version that exists like that. That's the only HD version of Twilight Princess or Wind Waker. And since it was never released on anything else, the value is higher. But once it gets released on Switch, it'll go down,
On a similar note, I put Hollow Knight Silk Song for the people.
Yeah, for the people who keep asking for that dumb game.
Yeah.
I'm sure I know people like it. I'm in the camp of I couldn't get in Hollow Knight. But apparently it gets good after 30 hours or something.
One that I think could happen, and I hope it happens. Put out Goat Simulator 3. Goat Simulator 1 is a big hit on Switch. Ask everybody's nephew; they all love it. It's fantastic.
Isn't it like didn't they release Wasn't it like a joke where they skipped one or something? Like
they skipped number 2. There is no number 2.
Oh, okay.
I love that. That's funny.
But it wasn't announced for Switch specifically.
No, it's on PC, and I think you can get it on PS5 and all that. So I mean, it sounds weird to say that Goat Simulator 3 might be out of the Switch's technical realms or whatever, but I think that's kind of true, and they could skim it down. Certainly, they could figure out a way to make it happen.
I know you don't follow the game at all, so it's nothing against you. But I thought it was funny that you skipped a level. You went ahead to a Shin Megami Tensei that doesn't exist. You went to Shin Megami Tensei 6, and it's 5. That's yeah. I mean, you don't care about those games. Like
I can't tell that's a 5 or a 6, to be honest.
No, it's a 6. I mean, it's not a Roman numeral.
It's the font.
It's a 5. It's just really blurry.
Oh, yeah. I thought it was 6. I thought it was 6 just because you don't give a fuck about SMT. So you were SMT 5 or 6. Why not? Because I mean, you don't keep track of them. Why would you?
Not at all.
Why would?
How do you know?
Yeah.
Oh wait, John.
I mean, I know because we talk every week about this stuff.
And the last one I'll mention, which is kind of a wishful thinking, a bit of a stretch, but hey, could happen. Elite Beat Agents and or Rhythm Heaven.
I like
one or both of those.
I like how it's not like new rhythm game. It's just like this rhythm game or this rhythm game. It's one of those two. And I have Uenden and Elite Beat Agents on my phone, on my DS emulator. So I have both of them. Nice. I have the Japanese and the American one on there, and Rhythm Heaven, the Game Boy Advance and the DS one. So, yeah. But no, I mean, yeah, Rhythm Heaven's awesome. Put it on Switch. It's great.
Well, I'll squeeze in there too. I think a Fallout makes sense on the Switch.
I'm surprised there aren't any. Like they could put what? Can they put like 1 through 4 out there? Or wasn't 4 was PS4? I mean, they could probably still fit it on there, right? They could at least put Fallout 1, 2, 3 on there.
I think that
Or
after
76 or something or whatever.
When the TV show boosted the sales of the other games, like I don't know what the percentage was, but it was through the roof, and it was the number one game on Steam that weekend. It's like, yeah, where don't we have Fallout, and let's get it out there.
Yeah, I mean, I don't care. I mean, cool for people who have Switches who want to play Fallout. Yeah, put it on there. I like how big.
Looking forward to that direct.
I like how giant the E's letters are. I appreciated that. I felt like I was represented in this bingo card by the giant E's letters.
Oh, no problem.
E's.
Well, when you only have to fit 2 letters in a box, you go big.
Well, I mean, they actually. I really considered buying the Japanese version of Ease 10 just because it was on sale for Golden Week for like $20, and I was like, ugh. I could buy it for $20 now and just hope that it gets translated at some point, but I don't know. I couldn't convince myself to do it. I mean, also I already pre-ordered the physical version that I'm supposed to get of the American one, but if the Japanese one was out early and translated, I would totally buy it digitally before just because I want to play it that much. But yeah, I was like, well, I could just buy it and hope it gets translated. But I mean, sometimes even though there's an American version, there won't be a translated version of it. Like, what was it? The Tetris Puyo Pop game that I got never got a translation for the Japanese version, but there was an American version. But there's still not like you can't download an update with English on it. So it's weird. Like some of them you still can't. And even like it said Ease 9 like still only had just Japanese, even though it was released in America. So I don't know.
So you guys were probably suspecting, like I am, that we're going to get at least one big first party game announcement out of this for the later half of the year. Like, what do you guys think on that?
I think it'll be remakes for sure.
I think it's just gonna be remakes.
That's what I was gonna say. I was gonna say, what do we have that hasn't been remade yet? Or what is a really weird out there thing that could be like, what about this game? You know, that's kind of what
Star
I thought.
Fox still.
Yeah, I would love for them to re-release Star
Fox Zero remastered.
Yeah, I would like that. Make it easier to play or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
And Star Fox Guard. Star Fox Guard was great. Actually, I don't know how you would play that because you need 2 screens for it. So I don't know how you would do it on Switch. You'd have to put both the screens on the TV. But that was still a good game. I mean, Grippy was a great character. He's a gripping character.
Sadly, I think the Zelda stuff is probably the most obvious choice of something to keep it going.
Aside from Metroid Prime 4, like they need something. I would think they need something for the holiday, to get them through. So
maybe you do a remake of Link to the Past, or bring Link Between Worlds to the Switch.
Yeah, that would be cool.
That'd be cool. Yeah. How about it's been a while since the Link's Awakening one. What about one done in that style?
That's what I'm saying. Maybe
that's what Jeremy meant. Like the company that did Link's Awakening, they also did Link Between Worlds. So Grezzo could like that. They made that game, so I mean they could make it.
Yeah,
they could update it for HD and do that sort of thing. So that was basically because they did the 3DS one and then they did the.
I don't think you'd have to change the look of it much.
I mean, just just crisp it up and all that. Make like the textures a little bit better and get rid of the bottom screen and all that.
Wasn't there a rumor a while back about Zelda 2 being remade?
Not that I saw.
That rumor's been around for a while. Remember when they were supposedly trying to get it to work in the Super FX 2 engine that was revealed in the Giga League? Yeah. That at one point that was actually a concept where they were like trying to do Zelda 2 all in like these polygons
Super
or whatever.
FX,
yeah. But no, it's been rumored otherwise. But that's the rumor. I always hope. I want that Zelda 2 to come out if it does. If any do.
I mean, do you want to just like rattle through the news and then we'll take a break and talk about the rest of our stuff?
Sure.
I put some releases on here. I guess you definitely want to talk about Bruce and Box, John. Even though your apartment complex does not allow you to bring boxes onto the second floor, you have to open everything. You have to open everything on the first at the front door and then carry it upstairs. You can't.
Really?
All the mailmen know about that too. They can't bring it up there. No, I just thought it was funny. John was like, I live on the second floor, so I can't play this game. And I was like, yeah, because you can't bring boxes up there. That must be why.
Yeah, no, it's basically the whole gameplay is like stand up, sit down, fight, making noise, moving your box up and down. So I don't really want to get that game. I do want the game, but
you don't have to. You don't have to hit the ground with the box. You just have to move the box. I guess we should talk about what it is. I got
an idea. Get a different apartment so you can play the game.
That's true. So this game only costs $5 plus $3,000.
Well, no, don't get a different apartment. Just rent your downstairs neighbor's apartment, kick them out, and you'll just own that. You'll have that apartment also, and then no one will care. You'll have both. Then
sides. Drill a hole in the floor and put a fireman pole.
Or just don't slam your box into the ground. The game is basically, it uses the camera on the bottom of the Switch off of the Joy-Con, and all you have to do is move the box up and down past the camera. You don't have to jump and slam it on the ground. Like, you don't have to play it like that. You just have to pass it in front of the camera. That's all you have to do. This is not making noise. This does not make
John,
noise.
I admire your passion, and I stand by what you say.
I mean, maybe
you're uncomfortable playing it on the second floor.
You'll get too passionate, and you'll punch the ground. But no, to me it looks like,
John didn't mention his. I don't know if he's talked about it on the show before, but he told me once about how he's just very averse to cardboard boxes and tends to get violent when he sees them.
And being inside one, I can't even imagine it. Yeah.
Well, I do remember. I remember when you lived in Wrigleyville, and you had that downstairs neighbor that complained because you walked around like at all, like because you took one step, and he's like, "Oh my God, you're so loud." So I mean, I figured it all stemmed from that.
Yeah, he came up one night, and it was like 10:30 or something. And he was like, guys, if you could just keep it down. Like, I got up from the computer. I was sitting at the computer for 2 hours. I got up to get a drink, and that was it. And he's like, yeah, I get up early. I'm a lawyer and all that, blah, blah, blah. and so afterward, Otis now would just have that was like a catchphrase.
I'm a lawyer.
Whenever we were bothered by something, we're like, oh, I'm a lawyer.
How about I litigate the fact I need to drink water to survive? Butthole.
Yep. That's like I mean, did you guys remember the original Tenacious D show on HBO? Yep. Do you remember when they had their like downstairs neighbor that was so upset? He's like, I'm a writer, but I'm a writer. You need to be quiet because I'm a writer. That was like his whole thing. That
was exactly it.
Yeah, and they're like there's a part where they're just like hammering the ceiling and just like creating this hole into his floor, and he's like, I'm a writer, and that's just Look, like
I do professional sleep studies for a living, so I need to be able to sleep every day, all the time.
Yeah, that's what I thought of. Was that fucking writer guy? Fuck him. But anyway, you don't have to make noise doing it. This feels like a joke that Jesse and I probably did when we lived together about, like, what if there was a Metal Gear Solid, the box, the game? This kind of what it reminds me of, like walking around as the box of Metal Gear Solid, but make it a whole game. But this one is supposed to be...
You can dress like Snake if you want to.
This one is supposed to be like what you lost your clothes and you have to walk home naked, and you're trying to hide yourself with the box is something like what it is, and you're moving the box up and down in front of the camera of the Joy-Con, which is something that like rarely gets used. So cool.
It reminds me a little bit of the toilet paper game.
It is the same company.
It is the same company.
Yeah.
Okay.
Way to follow the notes.
And it's only $5.
I appreciate that.
Oh, is that in the notes?
It is in the notes. Yes.
Oh,
it's very cheap. It's in the notes. But what also is in the notes, and this is the game that I discovered in this very Airbnb two days ago. I just was looking at the games that are getting released. It's actually not coming out this week. It's coming out next week. But regardless, it's still hilarious. It's this game called Slayers X Terminal Aftermath Vengeance of the Slayer. And it's basically like... It's basically like Postal Brain Damage. It's like that sort of thing. It's like 90s edgelord. But did you guys watch the trailer? Because the trailer is amazing. Because they have this like...
I did not.
This 90s parody song in there that basically sounds like every fucking alternative 90s song. And it's super cheesy and hilarious. And it basically looks like Duke Nukem. And I'm like, this looks
Should
awesome.
we just listen to it right now?
I could... Well, I can't play it for you because my computer is not hooked up like that. But you could watch it on your own accord and tell me what you think of it. But I think it's funny. Or you can listen to this episode when it's edited, and maybe I'll put it in there. But no, I watched the trailer of it last night because I was like, "Ooh, another first-person shooter game," and I just thought it was really funny. Like I love the fake song that they have in there. It very much captured, that '90s angst or whatever. And I was like, And it's only like $14. It's cheap. I was like, I'll buy it just for that song, like because that song's hilarious. It really it kind of, I don't know, sort of gave me like Buffy the Vampire Slayer vibes, but they had better music on that. But it was still kind of like that era, I guess. I guess that was probably later. I know it was like mid to late 90s. I don't know. Anyway, it looks awesome. And I watched the way it played, and it kind of looks like a fun Duke Nukem style game. So, how I love them boomer shooters. I don't like that term. So, I actually played this game, so this will be part of what I say later. But there's a game that came out called Bombcat, and I thought you'd get a kick out of this, Jeremy, because this game looks a lot like a game that we played a lot, except this time it has cats in it, and there's also bombs in there. It's basically, I might as well just say what I'm going to say about it. It's basically Suika game with cats is what it is.
Oh, really?
It's like, what if, so instead of like evolving into different fruits from touching each other, you become different cats. But the big thing about it is, number one, the song in it is better, but there's still only one song. So I think they're kind of trying to troll the Suika game, because the song I feel like has a little bit of stuff that's similar to the Suika game song, but it's a little bit better, but it still kind of mirrors it, I guess, and kind of parodies it. But there's more transformations. Like there's a lot more cats to turn into, but also there's a cat bomb that's in there. And in order to light the cat bomb, you have to evolve your cat to the fire cat that'll turn the bomb on. But the bomb will basically shake up all the stuff in the case. So gives it a little bit more stuff to do. And also the physics are a lot more, there's a lot going on. You can easily like drop one cat on another thing and it'll roll it all the way to the other side. So you can like kind of move stuff better in the box. But it's 100% Suika game. When the bomb goes off, like everything comes up. But if it goes to the line, it won't automatically game over like Suika game does.
I was about to ask that.
The cat has to actually leave the box and land outside of the box for it to game over. So there is a chance for it to go up and then come back down, and you'll still be in the game. But I just think it's funny, and it was $2, so I got it with gold points. And and I played it, and I was like, this is funny. So yeah, if you had enough of Suika game and you want to play one involving cats, Bombcat is out now for $1.99. Worth every penny.
If you don't want to blow up cats, Little Kitty Big City is out for $24.99.
Actually, I think, yeah, it's a little bitty. I don't remember if it's this week or next week, but what I thought was interesting about Little Kitty Big City is it's actually already on the highest sold games on the eShop. If you looked at the most sold digital only, Little Kitty Big City is already in there. It's already in like the top 10. I was like, whoa, this has a lot more. Because you can preload it, so people have already bought it. Like a bunch of people have already bought it. So cool.
I think a lot of people are into it. Impression in the 2 or 3 directs that it's been in.
Yeah, let's say
seem to like it.
It's gotten a good amount of exposure, so maybe that's why. Maybe that's why we've seen.
I think it looks pretty good. I'm gonna read the reviews.
I'm interested
with
in
interest.
It's like it's like $25 or something. It's also on sale. It's like a couple bucks off. It's like $22.99 or something like that. Oh yeah, the really big game that's coming out this week is Animal Well. Donkey's creation himself, Animal Well. I know
that guy. He made that from scratch.
Yeah, we made that joke plenty of times. No,
because he was growing up, he had a well behind his house full of animals. Yeah. He said.
I better make a video game.
It's a Donkey's Big Mode company, whatever is like producing it or whatever. But I've heard a lot of great things about Animal Well. People, publishing it. You're right. A lot of people really, really love Animal Well or love the idea of it. And yeah, it's like it's filled with secrets. There's like secrets that you can find on the first run, on the second run, on the third run. Like it's people comparing it to like stuff like what was that one game called where you could flip things? What was it? It's on
Fez.
Switch. Fez. Like that sort of like crazy secrets to it and that sort of thing. Oh, and speaking of Fez, not this week, but next week, Braid Anniversary Collection is coming out next week. That's right around the corner too.
Oh, that's soon. I didn't know that.
In case you forgot about Braid, it's it's coming out next week. So it's right around.
I'd be interested in getting that. I got that on.
You like that game
on the MacBook? Yeah,
I got it.
That was like I would consider that the first of the modern indie games that I actually got. So that would have been like 2007 or so.
was a long time ago.
I think it was.
a long time
I
ago.
think it was before.
I think it was before that because my first memory of Braid.
It was
I knew it was
like
a game, but I had
thing, right? A part of the arcade.
I knew it was a game, and I hadn't played it yet. But I saw a video went viral on YouTube back when stuff went viral because it just had like I don't know, because it was a popular person and it went viral or whatever. But Soulja Boy posted a video of him playing the game, and he was just like confounded by it. But something about how like confused he was made it more charming. I don't know, made me want to play the game. So like Soulja Boy is the one who let me know about Braid. So that's how old that game is.
So Braid came out August 6th, 2008. So it was 2008. I played it in 2009, but that was when it was brought over to PS3. And let me tell you, I don't like that game because I don't understand any of it. It looks pretty, but I don't understand a lick of it. And I thought that guy was sort of a prick from the indie movie, the indie game movie. I thought the creator was kind of an asshole. He was very much up his own ass, where he's like,
was he like the Fez guy?
I don't know, I thought the Fez guy was fine in that movie. I guess he got kind of bad after that. But in the movie, I thought the guy was like, he's basically like, my ideas are really intelligent, and if you don't like them, like maybe you're not smart enough. Like that's basically how he talks in that movie. Like he's very much like, I'm way smarter than you, and if you don't get it, you're an idiot. So I mean, he seemed very in his own asshole. So maybe hopefully he's gotten over that by now. But yeah, I don't know. I didn't understand that game. It looked pretty. It had nice music. I don't fucking understand any of it. So, but it's gonna be on Switch now, so more people can play it and be confused by it. Let's see. Oh, Rainbow Cotton. There's a bunch of these games on Switch, but this one is like the remake of the first Dreamcast Japan only cute 'em up game. And I've been super intrigued by these because, yeah, they look like Star Fox. It's the same sort of like on rails 3D shooter, the sort of thing. And, you know, I think it looks cool. I think I got one of them that was like a Saturn game or something, but we'll see. I probably won't get this one, but I like the way it looks. Looks cool. And if you want,
I'm a fan of cute 'em ups.
Yeah, if you want another Japan only Ys game, Wanderers from Ys is coming out this week too, which is not Ys 1, it's not Ys 2, it's a side Ys. It's a different Ys. It's a whatever.
Well, that was Ys 3.
No, it's not Ys 3. It's I read the description of it. It said that it's apart from the numbered Ys series.
Oh, okay.
It's its own thing because Ys 3 was like Super Nintendo or Super Famicom.
I do remember seeing Wanderers from Ys in the I call it Wanderers from Ys, obviously, but in my Game Genie manual.
Oh yeah,
one of the game that was mentioned. So
yeah,
I think it was on just one of the.
I think it was on NES, possibly.
Well, SNES as well.
Or SNES. I don't know. Anyway, yeah, because this one is 2D. It's different. It's like the Zelda 2 of Ys. Instead of like the top down, it's like side scroller. Because I looked at some of the footage of it, and it's still like the egg console, the 80s Japan only thing. I think it's really cool that they have those in there. I just wish they were in English because it makes it kind of annoying. And the big DLC, which I haven't gotten to play yet because I've been working all day, but AEW Fight Forever Season 4 just launched today, and Samoa Joe, the X title haver, is on there. And there's some extra stuff. There's a new level. There's a Japanese level you can play. You can fight in a ring in Japan. That's on there. I guess there's a free update, another free update. And I just found out actually right before we started, that they added more created wrestlers, but not by wrestlers this time. They added created wrestlers by influencers. Nobody wants that. Like, really? I posted
Logan Paul?
No. I mean, he's a wrestler now, and he's for WWE.
Oh, I was thinking boxers. Never mind.
So he's owned by WWE. They can't have him on there. Triple H going to come after you if you put him on there. He's owned by the WWs. No, it's just some idiots. Just regular looking idiots that you probably see on TikTok all over the place. But no, I was like, these aren't as funny. They probably don't have anything as good as Randy Delta or Winter Sacramento. Both of those characters. Or what was it? Nyla Rose's India Darling. That one was funny too. But all of the fun thing about those is all their made up wrestlers were all plays on their names. So like Randy
Yeah.
Delta was made by Kenny Omega, so it was like another like Greek letter, so it was funny. But I mean,
Who is Sacramento?
Winter Sacramento was Orange Cassidy's character.
Oh wow.
So I mean, yeah, so it was kind of like all of
That's
it
pretty funny.
was supposed to be like plays on their names. So it's and you can play
Like you're not in Orange County, you're up in Sacramento, the freaking Danville
Yeah.
of California.
Yeah. So I thought those were fun. But yeah, these ones are whatever. But you can download them for free. I think there's some extra skins and stuff. But the cool thing is they finally announced the other stuff that was coming with season 4. Adam Copeland, aka Edge from WWE, is on there. He's cool. I like Adam Copeland. And also Jay White. Didn't know about him. He's coming as well. But there's also like additional skins, and there's going to be a tournament mode. I don't know if it's online or not. Hopefully it is, because we're running out of things to do on Wrestle Chat. But AEW 5 Forever still kicking. Season 4. It's probably been it's been at least twice the price if you bought all of them like I did. But yeah, $20 for 3 characters plus music and other shit. Oh yeah, and there's going to be there's a Halloween level also that's like in a graveyard. Like there's a ring that's in a graveyard. And they also there's supposed to be new game modes for Stadium Stampede, which is free. So maybe somebody will play that, because it seems like nobody's playing Stadium Stampede. But I would love for somebody.
I had a lot of fun when we played it that one time.
Yeah, no, I'm saying it's fun. It just seems like there's no. I mean, if you try to play it, they'll put you with bots, so you'll play against CPU people. So you can still play it, but
maybe I can get the horse.
There's just not any. Yeah, there's not any people. I've gotten the horse. The horse controls really badly, but it's still kind of funny to have it just because it's so OP. But yeah, I mean it's
a good mode if they can get some muscle behind it.
Yeah, I mean I like
throw
it.
people over the balcony.
I mean I like it. I think it's funny, and you can throw people over the balcony. You can powerbomb people over the balcony. Oh. Well, because you can change your moves. Like you can make it to where you can powerbomb people like 10 feet away, which is really funny. Like you can take them and throw them like wherever you want, like, which is pretty hilarious. And you can also throw them outside of the bubble, which is always fun. When it's closing in, you can throw them all out. And yeah, I mean that game was a lot of fun. We had a lot of fun with Stadium Stampede. So hopefully somebody comes back to it. But I haven't even watched Dynamite or played AW5 Forever. I don't know what to do with myself. I'm just losing my mind over here. Like all my Wednesday things, I haven't done them.
Well, I read. You want me to tell you what happened?
No. No, I don't want you to tell me anything that happened on AW5 Forever, or on AW Dynamite. I mean, I don't want to know. I'm sure Adam Copeland still has his TNT belt. I'm sure he didn't lose it to that House of Black guy. But I don't know. Is there anything else you want to talk about on here before we take a break?
Jeremy, what do you think about the Hades 2 early access review?
I'm doing one of those things where I'm poking my fingers in my ears and go la 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 la, because I know this is going to be like a game I really want to play, but I want to wait till it's done. And I know like there's probably no story beats or anything they're going to ruin the game for me, but I still want to wait to play it till it's done.
I don't think there's any story in it. Maybe the first chapter. But I thought it wasn't even like early access. I thought it was before that. I thought it was like the whatever you call it, the stress. There's a different name
beta.
for it. They've talked about it on
something.
Not beta. They talked about it on Axe of Blood God because Eric's been playing it. But it's called like the strength test or something like that. But it's even before. It's not. I didn't even think it was even fully early access yet. Maybe they just said that. Regardless, everybody who's played it loves every minute of it. So I mean, it kind of seems like a nothing. Like I've seen comments on it, so where it's like, oh, it's like a 9 out of 10, so the game's not even done. So what's it missing that won't make it a 10 or whatever? This is like one small section of the game. It's I don't know. It just seems like
if you're a publisher,
cares? Yeah.
If you're a video game news publisher, you look for opportunities to draw eyeballs to the site and saying, hey, we have an early access review. I'm sure they got a lot of hits on this. It's a 9 out of 10.
Supergiant's first sequel, and I think they're trying to play it careful. So maybe they are releasing, maybe they're really just trying to like rest on their laurels until like hopefully they can release it to as much fanfare as the first one, because for a lot of people, they didn't know that game even existed. And then all of a sudden it was on the Switch and it was an exclusive for a hot second.
It was game of the year all over the place.
And I mean, yeah, it was my game of the year. So it's like, I believe it was my game of the year.
Oh, it was. I'd be surprised if it wasn't.
And I mean, I'm all about getting back into Hades. I just don't want to do it yet. I want to wait till it's done and I know that I'm playing a complete product.
Yeah.
Because my feedback's not going to matter. I just want to play it.
For sure. How about, I mean, you never played a Hades, John, and it's been on sale for like $10. Like, did you ever, I mean, were you ever planning on getting it? Or you just.
It's free on Netflix games if you have Netflix.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would get it sometime if it came around for $10 and I didn't have anything else to play. Sure, it's been intriguing to me, and I know it's not a straight RPG, so maybe there's a way in for me.
It's not an RPG in any way, I would say.
No, it's a roguelite.
It's a roguelite. It's not. You don't level up, so if you don't level up, it's not an RPG.
You level up the environment.
Well, you
more than you would level up your character.
You get boons and stuff, right? Or you get, I don't know.
And you do eventually. Yeah. Your character does get like progressively stronger, but you can still get like wiped out really fast if you pick the wrong boons and make dumb decisions early on.
Yeah, I would not call it an RPG. It's not. I don't consider it an RPG.
No,
in any way.
It's an action beat 'em up. It's borderline. It's borderline a shooter, if depending on how you play it. But it's an action it's an action game with roguelike elements and boons that stack your abilities, and you just if you like Vampire Survivors, it's like that in a different way.
Okay. Yeah.
You just get progressively stronger and you start just mowing the lawn with everybody. And then they'll throw a new enemy type at you and you'll be like, oh shit, my normal way of fighting enemies doesn't work here. And then you have to figure that out. But then, when you come back around again, you'll know what to do.
I wonder if they'll put it back on the free game trials, because wasn't it on that at one point?
I don't remember. I don't think it was. Well, I mean, if it was, I don't remember.
Do you have Netflix, John?
No.
Oh, okay.
Oh, I thought you did.
Do you have anyone in your family who has Netflix that would let you use their password?
Yeah, I get it off and on whenever there's something.
I would say because you can get it for free. You can get Hades for free through that.
Well, you'd have to find a way to play your Netflix on something though.
You just download it like it's.
Yeah, but
it's a game you download.
But you might have to play it on your phone, or can you play it on your computer?
I think you can download on the computer as well.
It's got to be on Mac by now, right?
Well, probably. I don't know. I mean, I've never played any of the games on Netflix. I just see them there, but I've never.
It's on my phone, and it's essentially just I don't know if you can play the games if you don't have an internet connection, but it's only for them to verify you have a Netflix account, not that you're streaming the games.
Maybe it's like Nintendo Switch Online, where they check you every couple days or whatever, just to make sure that you're still.
It's I've played World of Goo on there, and it's never been a problem.
Well, do you want to talk about how Microsoft sucked again, and how they closed a bunch of studios? About
Microsoft's Hi-Fi. Yeah, that really on the fringes this generation, and even more so with this kind of stuff.
I saw a lot of people posting old articles talking about how Hi-Fi Rush was such a success, and I tried to look at the sales numbers, and I think it only sold 3 million, but I think that's a pretty good number. But also I saw articles being what do you have to do to be an actual success anymore?
Yeah, Kotaku.
People said it was people said it was a success, but then it wasn't. But there were plenty of articles I thought from Microsoft themselves saying that they thought that Hi-Fi Rush was a good enough success, but then now they completely closed the company.
They closed the studio that made it.
What? But has it even released for PS5 yet? Did they do the port for that?
I don't know.
I know it was coming, but I didn't know if it actually had come out yet, because it'd be kind of weird to cancel it before it even come to PS5.
I think one thing that is not in dispute is that game had pretty universal acclaim.
Yeah, a lot of people really liked it.
So why would you, even if the game wasn't a smash commercial success, why would you shut them down if they are making something that everybody says is good? you wouldn't disband the team if you're a good manager or a good
there's
company
these
owner.
suits. There's some suits in a room that made this decision. It wasn't like
That's exactly it.
never played the game and they don't care.
It wasn't any sort of forethought. It was like, what can we do to like for the bottom line at this very moment in time for our investors to be cool with it.
If you have this team that is capable of making a universally acclaimed product, but the product, say, is in some way skewed or whatever to where it doesn't reach an intended audience, well, maybe that's a problem of marketing. Maybe that's a problem of somebody else besides the team that made this great universally acclaimed game. And maybe you're wasting a potential opportunity in the future by disbanding this team that is clearly working well together. So just like, don't be short-sighted. You're going to need video game developers at some point.
I think
it's a tale as old of time where like companies will buy like potential competitors and then shutter them. Like, I'm sure there's more to it than that. It's not, none of it's good, but you are essentially eliminating competition if you buy them out, and then, which I don't know if that's what happened with this studio or whatever, but I mean, it's obvious they're going to have to do their own thing now if they're not working for Microsoft.
Well, I mean, didn't it? Because the guy who made Hi-Fi Rush,
I mean, that's why Activision exists. You know, like it's a classic scenario where like either they leave or they get fired, and then they do their own thing, and it's better. Hopefully.
I mean, the company was founded by Shinji Mikami, like the guy who created Resident Evil. So, I mean, they did a bunch of shit. Like, well, yeah, they did. They did Evil Within 1 and 2, which were games I always wanted to play. I actually bought Evil Within on PS4, but never played it. But I mean, one of the people who worked on Hi-Fi Rush was actually on 8-4 Play, and he worked on they talked to him about Evil Within as well. But I think you're right. Like they were like Evil Within was on other systems, and then they bought it, or they made Hi-Fi Rush specific to one system. But $3 million for just Xbox, I think is still pretty good. You know, it's like, but
for a system that's failing through the fault of Microsoft, through not through the fault of this team. Yeah,
well, I mean, and the PS4 or the PS5 version did come out in March. It came out March 19th of this year. I don't know what the sales of that was and how much more. Obviously, it didn't do enough for them to care. But it's like, I mean, I'm sure you guys have seen that fucking shitty new Apple commercial where it shows Apple crushing all of these really great things to show you their new shitty tiny iPad that everybody's pissed off about.
That was a terrible terrible commercial.
It kind of reminds me of that, right? It's like these higher up people who care nothing about everything under it, who give no shits about everything under it. So that's like, they
thought they were being cool by like,
everything in that way.
Well, like the hydraulic press has been like a meme on the internet for multiple years now.
Yeah.
So it's like Apple thought, hey, let's like seize on the hydraulic press trend to like show how thin our iPad is. And like, was there literally anyone who was like, iPads are too thick? I haven't heard a single person say that about an iPad.
I mean, isn't that their thing now, is making their computers really small so they can't have ports on them anymore, just to inconvenience everyone who likes having ports on their
so you
computer.
Can't fix them, right?
Yeah, so you have
it's
to buy
like
a new
crazy the way like everything is situated within the body of the chassis or whatever is like bizarre as fuck, because they had to fit everything in this like tiny form factor, which is definitely apparent because the bigger model is thinner. So it's like they're obviously just spreading the electronics out more to where it's harder to fix.
But I was just saying similar thing where people up at the top that don't know what's happening on the bottom, let's just destroy everything. Let's lay off a whole bunch. Let's lay off a whole bunch of people, because that'll give us an extra.
By doing
like,
that, their bonuses will be greater. Yeah.
Yeah, give you more money. They don't care. If they lay off thousands of people, it'll pad their wallets. So whatever. I still wanted to I really wanted to play Hi-Fi Rush. Everyone said that it looked like a good GameCube game, and you know how I feel about GameCube games. So I mean, I was excited to play it, but I don't know. Maybe Nintendo, buy them up for Switch 2. Let's get Hi-Fi Rush on Switch 2. It could be like Bayonetta all over again, right? Because Bayonetta 1 didn't perform well enough.
Microsoft still
and then
owns
Nintendo
it,
swooped in and picked up Bayonetta, and then we got 2 and 3 after that, and even a Bayonetta prequel. We got that other weird Bayonetta game that came out. Like Nintendo's all about
Cereza or whatever it was.
We're going to support this shit. Well, they kind of, I mean, they sort of did the same thing with, with Monolith too, because, Monolith had like Xenogears and Xenosaga, and those games didn't really go that well. And then Nintendo kind of picked them up, and we had Baten Kaitos and the immortal Xenoblade Chronicles games. So,
Then eventually they were like wizards with the Nintendo hardware.
Yeah, and then they found out that they were really fucking good, and they made like Tears of the Kingdom and Animal Crossing and like Splatoon and all these really great games. So I mean,
they were involved in Breath of the Wild, weren't they?
Oh yeah. No, yeah, well, yeah, of course. Yeah, they were. Well, yeah, we talked about it. They were approached because of
they've been pretty
because of Xenoblade Chronicles X, because Nintendo was so impressed by the scope of that game that
they've been a huge part of the Nintendo Switches.
They kind of enveloped, brought them into the development of Nintendo. Whenever, when you hear people talk about like Pokemon and where Pokemon is at, I said it on this show many times. I'm like, let Monolith do it. Like, have them do it. They're wizards. Just have them. They're very good. They're very good at what they do. Their games look very good. And they're I still think Xenoblade Chronicles 3 is one of the best games on Switch. The end.
I think Pokemon's another one of those things that's like on a corporate level, someone's making those decisions where they're like, even if it's a shitty game, people are going to buy it. So who cares?
Yeah. But I mean, warts and all, I did really like Scarlet Violet.
So did I. I liked it too.
It had a great story. It had a great soundtrack. And it was still fun.
I thought it was
still fun
game.
It was still fun as hell to play. Like, even though it was broken,
Same.
It was still really fun. So, I mean, they could still get that going,
I never figured out how to like breed my Pokemon, but otherwise I had a good time with it.
Yeah, I never figured that out either.
Well, if Microsoft can buy Rare back in the day, Nintendo can buy whatever this company's name is and return the favor.
Yeah. Remember Rare? Yeah, the company is Tango Gameworks. Is what? Yeah, it's the company that was started by Shinji Mikami.
I wanted to mention that, oddly enough, there was a lot of video game clothes that got mentioned this week. I'll go through it real quick. Black Milk has a new range of Zelda clothing for sale. Balatro merch is now for sale. You can buy Balatro clothes. You might be interested to know.
I mean, I think it's cool just because Balatro is a cool game.
Yeah,
it's still a cool game. It's still very playable and fun.
Yeah, I'll talk about it here in a little bit.
Yeah.
After the break.
Yeah, but no.
There's Shenmue clothes. You can buy a Ryu's Shenmue jacket, which is pretty enticing.
There's some cool. Yeah, I saw like a cool Balatro hoodie and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's funny, like for Balatro, that's like such a indie game, but it's, I don't know, why not give some clothes? I mean, it's a good game. It's a real good game.
This is the weirdest one. Tetris and 7-Eleven have announced a partnership, so they got not only clothes, but they're also making a handheld game console. It looks like a Slurpee that plays Tetris.
Oh God!
I thought you were joking. I was about to say that, but is it true?
Yeah, it's true.
It's like the Chicken McNugget that plays Tetris, but now it's a Slurpee that plays Tetris.
Same idea. Yep.
Can it play?
Oh my God!
Can it play Doom? I think one of you already made that joke.
I doubt it, because I think it's probably like a LCD like Tiger level display.
The last two quick things I want to mention. There's a rare Super Famicom prototype that's up for sale. That's pretty big deal. This is like before it got its proper colors with the purple and all that. It had the same color scheme as the NES, and so now it's up for auction in Japan, according to this time extension article.
Cool.
And also, the Nintendo Museum is now complete. Yay! So we can plan our trip to Japan for this fall.
Well, Jeremy's going there next year, so you can go there.
Yeah, I don't think I'll be going there.
I mean, it's in isn't it in the same place as the Mario World, as the amusement park?
Or no,
I don't think so.
It's like in the same neighborhood as the actual headquarters. Basically, I think they're sick of people pilgrimage to Nintendo headquarters. They're going to point them down the street to the museum.
Oh yeah, because this is like in Kyoto, and the other one's in like different place. Well, someday. I
don't think we're going to Kyoto.
Yeah, we're supposed to go to Japan again someday. Supposedly, that was the plan. So maybe we can go there. I don't know. Yeah, Kyoto's kind of far.
Well, let's take a break.
Watch that trailer in the break. Watch it, the one with the funny '90s song. Watch the funny '90s trailer break. in the break.
The X Slayer.
Hey, you.
It's me, Mario.
Yeah, you. Subscribe to our Patreon to hear our bonus shows, which happen every month.
I'm tired.
Tired of all the big corporate podcasts spoon-feeding you the same old video game news on every single show?
Spaghetti. Ravioli.
Then expand!
With NintenDomain Expansion Pack.
It's us talking about old games that were important to us. It's us interviewing people that we meet at conventions. And heck, it's live shows from those same conventions. It's basically everything you could want that NintenDomain ever made.
Here we go! And it's just $1 a month.
That's less than a bad indie on the eShop.
It's $12 a year, which is less than Nintendo Switch Online.
Thank you so much for subscribing to our Patreon and supporting NintenDomain.
Just go to patreon.com/NintenDomain podcast and, hey, Mario, let go. Whoa! He's throwing us back to the show.
So long, Bowser.
Patreon.com/NintenDomain podcast.
Game over.
So we're back from the break, but what we really forgot to say as far as news stuff is Steve Albini died today, which I don't know if everybody knows about him, but he was like a Chicago legend, like a punk rock legend, a music recording legend. He recorded many amazing albums. He could have kind of like probably come off as a dick, but also he was very much like anti, produced music and that sort of thing. And there was a quote, I was trying to remember it, that he said specifically that like, that basically like any album that was produced mainstream is trash or something like that. But it was said much better than that. But yeah, I think the first time I ever saw him was in You Weren't There, or no, what is it? Yeah, You Weren't There. The Chicago punk rock documentary that's really good about the original punk rock bands from Chicago, because he was from a band called Big Black that was like one of the first like big punk rock bands in Chicago, and he did like. He had another. I was listening to a bunch of like Steve Albini stuff on the way over here because I had like 2 hours to kill, and I was like, oh, because I was like really upset about it because I knew of him. A friend of mine bought me "We Owe You Nothing," which is a compilation of interviews that Punk Planet did with different people, and Steve Albini was in there, and I remember reading an interview with him and Ian MacKaye and Jello Biafra and all these other like big punk rock people. And,
I highly recommend looking up his interviews on like YouTube. Obviously look him up to read them too, but just a fascinating person. A very, I don't know how do you even say the word? I'm not good with it, but like maybe eloquent. He's good with words. Like he describes what he's thinking like to a T where you understand it. Like it's really cool.
Yeah, I was just reading through like Wikipedia stuff, and he was just describing about like how he wouldn't record certain music because it reminded him of beer ads, like that sort of thing. Where he's like, "Oh no, I'm not doing that because it sounds like a fucking Coors ad or whatever." Like he's very like to the point and not in very much like not smooth. Like he's very much like he'll tell you how it is sort of person, and and if I don't know if it's still on HBO Max, but did you ever watch that Foo Fighters documentary show that they did where they went to all the different the different cities?
I think it's a Sonic Highways.
Yeah, I don't care. I don't care for the Foo Fighters, but I thought that show was really good. And the Chicago episode, they go to see Steve Albini and they talk to him and all that. And he died of a heart attack at 61, and he died at his recording studio at 61. So he died doing what he loved. I mean, he was still working, I guess. And I guess
did someone find him? Was it one of those situations, or was it just
I don't know. Like I don't know.
I guess that's the morbid part of me. I guess I don't need to know, but I'm just like,
I don't know I don't know that much detail.
How did that happen?
But I did find out that they did actually record a new album, his band. So they are having a new release for Shellac. Will be released after posthumously or whatever, posthumously. Yeah. So they were still recording music. They started in what? They started in like, I don't know, like mid to late 90s, something like that. And they had multiple albums. And I found out about it because I saw a bunch of people on Facebook posting about Shellac. And I was like, I just didn't put it together. And then I saw somebody post an article from like Rolling Stone or whatever. And I'm like, oh, fuck, Steve Albini. I'm like, oh, my God. Like, yeah. And I was listening to like, some of his, his bands that he was in, but I was also listening to music that he recorded. Like I listened to like, he recorded Surfer Rosa, the Pixies album.
Surfer Rosa,
which is awesome. Yeah, I was listening to that and just like, and I guess I also read that he didn't really want to be that involved in the recording. Like he felt like if producers like did too much, it would like alter the beauty of the music or whatever. So I just listening to those songs in Surfer Rosa where they're like screaming in the background, but it sounds like so good. It's like, I don't know. It's just this beautiful thing that came together. Or like a No Pocky for Kitty, which is like one of my favorite Superchunk albums ever. Like he recorded that. And like that was like the gem of Superchunk that I always wanted to find when I was just looking, when there was no internet and you were just trying to find CDs at record stores or whatever. That was like the gem of Superchunk. Like, yeah. And like he did like in Utero with the Nirvana, and like he did plenty of stuff. But I mean, I always liked his views, and I always liked him. Even like I said, even though he's an asshole, he's still
Neurosis.
He's so cool, yeah. but even like listening to his music, like it was always different. Like the way he played guitar was always trying to like just be different than whatever was out there. So
Low played here in town recently. Sadly, I couldn't go. It was last year. They played at they played here in town, and then I think one of those members passed away actually recently, and I missed my chance. They played at the Unitarian Church in town. So they actually played in like the chapel area, and the pictures I saw were just like incredible. That wasn't him though. That was just an album he produced. He produced
he worked on a lot of stuff, a lot of like big bands. I remember my old roommate Brandon talking about like his work with the Pixies and all that, how incredible that album was and all that. And yeah, it's still good. So
if he ever crossed over with video games at all? I mean, I'm sure influentially, but did he ever?
I doubt it.
I don't think so. I think he would be like, "Fuck that shit, it's a waste of time."
Exactly.
That's probably what he would say. Like I said, he was very much like, he was very much like upfront about everything.
I imagine this guy probably didn't even like.
About him.
He probably would have preferred an analog synth to like a digital keyboard or whatever. I bet he was that kind of guy who
so him and Ronnie
has his sound figured out so good.
Let's say him and Ronnie Martin could hang out then, because Ronnie Martin
for sure
was all about the analog. I know about the analog synth. I had one.
No. He's
for anyone who doesn't know,
Ronnie Martin's a producer. At heart, I think.
Yeah, I mean, for anyone who doesn't know, like, I mean, analog synths are incredible because it's just all these songs that Joy Electric sung about, but it's all like, using dials and switches to create this specific sound. And I just think I think it's amazing.
I mean, you're literally creating a one-of-one sound by how you dial it in.
Yeah, I mean, I had one for a brief amount of time, and you might find a sound where you got to like write down all the coordinates, like it's a location on the earth that you're trying to find. Like it's amazing, and like every switch does like moves, like it chooses like the way the way the sound moves, and there's like the different.
And I don't even understand
the waveforms and how much, or if it echoes or it does like all this crazy shit. And it's like
because you had the Prodigy, which actually had like a keyboard on it, so it made a little more sense. But like I've seen these Moogs that are like it's entirely patch cables, and that stuff's insane. I don't get it at all.
Well, even like the Prodigy, like, so there would be stuff I had heard on like Joy Electric, and I could not, like, from messing with the knobs, I could not get that anywhere near that. But if you look in like the manual and it gives you like specific coordinates, you could get that sound. But I couldn't piece together how you would get to that with all the, because it's so, I don't know, there's just so much you can do, but it has to be like very specific and all that. But yeah, no, Steve Albini, just
honestly, it's one of those things. I bet you could literally get a hold of Ronnie Martin and be like, "What setting did you use?" He would literally just tell you. That's
well, I mean, I found it in the book, like because in the manual they give you presettings and stuff like that, and I found stuff that was close to what he had used. But if I was just like trying to poke through it myself, I would have never got there. Because it's just so much. Because like all I'm doing is just making like the note hold longer, like change the waveforms or whatever. But this is all putting all these specific things together to create this completely different sound. And
it's a science behind music that producers get that I think
it's fascinating.
Even most musicians don't understand it. Like the shape of something affects how it sounds.
Yeah, the waveforms and all that. But but yeah, Steve Albini, like it broke me to see it, and I saw it at work too. You saw it at work. I saw it at work. And I texted, I sent it to the Slack, and I texted Jess too, and I was like, "Fuck, Steve Albini, oh my god!"
No, I literally, I was telling you, Trey, I was telling you earlier in the break that it reminded me of what I heard about Prince passing away, because it was very much nonchalant. Like I was just working on the line, and it's a really busy week because this is the graduation week, so everybody's leaving town kind of after this week. So like they're all doing all these big parties and stuff. So we've got all these huge orders. I'm just working my butt off, and it's super hot. And one of my coworkers just walks up and says, "Hey, did you hear Steve Albini died?" And then he like walked away pretty much. And, it's like,
and you're like, "What?"
He was like heart attack, and then like walked away.
61. It's 61.
Thanks, man. Yeah. And that was what I heard about Prince. It was kind of similar. It was like, "Hey, did you hear Prince died?"
See you later.
Just found him dead in an elevator. Like that's all they knew at the time.
It's like, "Hey,
and it was like
Prince dead. So see you later. I'm out."
It's like, holy shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Something about the nonchalant delivery just was like, I don't know. That's not how I want to hear it. I wanted someone to, but I don't know. It's not a whole lot different from finding out on the internet, to be honest. Like the internet's going to tell you the same way. You're just going to see that the name's trending, and you're going to assume like either they're dead or they said something stupid.
Yeah, well, I mean, Steve. Like I said, Steve Albini is a big Chicago person, and a lot of people. Like I was just like on Facebook, and I saw a bunch of my friends talking about Steve Albini, and I just didn't figure it out. And then I was like, "Oh, okay, that's why everybody's talking about Shellac and all that." But yeah, but I mentioned it to the people I was working with, and they're all too young. They're like, "Who?" I'm like, "All right, whatever. You don't know who Steve Albini is." I was like, "He's a
treasure trove." He's like,
legend."
it's like an Awada ass kind of thing. I think people are just going to be like picking apart stuff he said for years to come.
He has some great. He has some incredible quotes. Like I like
it. The way he is more a philosophy. I mean, I know like people say that about Rick Rubin, and Rick Rubin's been very successful, but I feel like this guy's actually a musician, so he's a bit more special for that reason. And what he has to say crosses more barriers, and it's not like I don't know what I'm talking about. It just sounds good,
Well, Shellac formed in 92, and they went all the way till 2024. So they still have an album coming out after he died. But I mean, give it a listen. I think, it kind of, honestly, I wasn't that into it because it kind of reminded me of Rage Against the Machine, but you would like it because of that. And I guess they would be around when Rage was starting, right? Because the first time I saw them open up for Cypress Hill was in 92, when they had like 3 songs or whatever. But, I
didn't see anything about. I don't think he produced any of their stuff, but
it just.
that would have been the time.
It reminds me of that, where it kind of has the same like. It just has. It's super repetitive, which annoys me.
A lot of what was going on
is very repetitive.
In those early days, were bands that were like more punk or hardcore in the 80s, and they were like kind of changing up their style, and they were like incorporating hip hop or whatever. That was a big thing, like hardcore bands, because. Zach De La Roca was in a band called Inside Out. You should look up. It's pretty good, like hardcore. It's like 80s hardcore or like early 90s or whatever, but it sounds pretty good, and it's not It's not at all like it's more like Minor Threat. It's very like short and to the point. It's that kind of hardcore, but something about like the hip hop and the repetition like really kind of like wormed its way into, not in a bad way, but I should say wormed its way, but like it was incorporated into music and made it more like digestible to the masses or whatever, for the radio audience at least.
Well, if they keep repeating the same thing to you over and over again, eventually you'll get it, right? Eventually,
I mean,
you'll
that's
know.
a chorus.
I mean, I just like,
Crimson and Clover over and over, my friend.
I mean, I like that song. There's less repetition in that one, but
it's so repetitious.
But it's not like, do what I told you or whatever. Like, I mean, I liked Rage. I thought they were cool when I saw.
I mean, isn't it kind of just like
for
a different way
Cypress
of
Hill?
saying that?
I mean, Crimson and Clover has parts to it. Like there's changes in the song where it, there's bridges or whatever. But no. I mean, I bought the first.
I don't know.
I bought the
I would
first
write
Rage.
an essay about how those songs are very similar.
I bought the first Rage album, and it was one line, repeat, get angrier, for 2 minutes, and then next song, and it just drove me crazy. So that's that. But we should move on from that because we got to talk about games. But yeah, Steve Albini, holy fuck, what an awesome dude. Yeah, died at work. He was working, and also you can't as of June 10th, you won't be able to send your videos to Twitter anymore from your.
I think
Switch.
that's the death knell for Twitter.
Yeah, it's like
where Twitter is going to finally be done for now.
Where
Nintendo divested itself from them.
Where will I send my beat of the weeks to? Facebook? Fuck, nobody cares about me on Facebook. I have like 2 followers. Like seriously,
it's going to be funny if it
more people
like
comment on my stuff
thing.
on Twitter than Facebook. Like seriously, I like Twitter because I can get drunk and just say shit and nobody cares there.
Maybe Miiverse is coming back. Huh?
I wish, or at least like let me post my beat of the weeks on like Blue Skies or something. Let me put it.
Well, don't forget you can at any point you can download stuff to your phone through a QR code and then post it wherever you want. You just can't do it directly from.
Anytime you want to, you can pause your game, go into the screenshots, hold up your phone, connect to your Switch's Wi-Fi, download the video onto your phone.
Yeah, it's like such a process.
Then reconnect to your Wi-Fi. Then upload it to Twitter. Come on, why don't you do that?
Yeah, it's so hilarious how it works. Yeah, where you scan a QR code and you got to join anything. It's pretty much exactly what John said. It's such a pain.
I've done it multiple times just because I didn't feel like cleaning out my memory, and it's kind of funny because it's just like procrastinating in the most stupid way possible.
Yeah, it's very dumb. Switch 2, fix that, please. Yeah, but anyway, let's talk about games that we got and games we've been playing.
Bring back Miiverse.
Speaking of something that's cool about Twitter, somebody named me won Contra, won the Contra Galuga, as I call it. I know it's Galuga, but I think it's funnier to call it Galuga because that's also an old arcade game. But no, I got the Contra Galuga game from Way Forward directly. What'd
you have to do?
It was all you had to do was follow them and the Contra account and basically comment #RedFaction, and you'll get picked randomly. And I guess it was me and like 5 other people. And I don't normally do these.
Were you talking about like geomodding or something like that?
Yeah, was it? Red Faction the game, right? I think that was what it was Red Faction. Anyway, they reposted it. I barely do these things. Like I'll do them sometimes. I'll like repost it and just say a thing, and then I never win anything from them. And then the other day I was at work and I just checked Twitter and I got a message from them that was like, hey, you won the contest. Like, respond within 24 hours. Like, what version do you want? What country do you want? I was like, well, I want the Switch version. I want the American version, and they sent me the code and I didn't send it to you because I really wanted to play it. So sorry. But
no, you won it. It's yours.
I won it, damn it. So I want to play it. I'm not giving it
away.
No,
that is your prize. Don't give your trophy away.
It's like a $30 game. But it is actually I mean, I played it for maybe like 20 minutes, but I did like what I played of it. And Way Forward were the ones who did Contra 4 on DS, which I really liked a lot. Like there's only 2 Contra games that I loved. It's Contra Alien Wars on Super Nintendo and Contra 4 on Nintendo DS. Those are the 2 Contras that I loved. I don't give a shit about the NES ones. I know there's the up down down code. I don't give a shit. I never played that. So and even the only one I played was Super C on NES. So I mean, I didn't even play the first one, so I didn't give a shit. But 4 was really good, and I love that if you do the up down down code, you die. Like I love where they do that where it automatically kills you. So they're like, oh yeah, fuck you for remembering that code. But no, it's done. The Galuga one's done really well. It's pretty cool because right when I turned it on, you automatically got unlockables for having the Contra collection and the Castlevania collection and the Konami collection. Like that's cool. So you get like bonus music for having like the Konami arcade collection or the Contra collection or the Castlevania collection. So you can play you can play like NES Castlevania songs on there while you're playing the game, or the NES Contra songs or that sort of thing. So that's cool. And there's like full on cutscenes. There's unlockable stuff. You can play as the Probotectors from Sega Genesis, which is awesome. If you remember, the Contra 3 Alien Wars was the Probotectors on Genesis, so you can actually play as the robots from there. So they obviously like they know what they're talking about because they're doing all the different versions. But yeah, the Probotector, I didn't know about that until the Contra collection. But and also it's on the Sega, the mini Genesis that I have. But yeah, no, it's a cool game. Like from what I played of it, I could tell that there was a lot of love was put into it, and it was very much like there's a lot to do with it. And you know, the like a lot of the accessibility stuff is like, yeah, playing as different characters have different abilities and different like, you know, things that can make you better in whatever way. And I thought that was really cool. And it looks nice. And it's got all the shit of Alien. It's got the homing missiles and all that from Alien Wars, you know, that you like. And yeah, and you can slide now. You can do that in the other ones. But yeah, no, I didn't get to play it that long just because I've been really busy. But I'm very excited to play it more, and I'll talk about it more. And I told him,
hey, it's your trophy. You can take your time enjoying it. It's yours.
And I told him that we had a podcast and all that, and I asked him to be on the show, obviously, because you have to, right? If they're emailing you and it's way forward. So they told me to email their PR department and say what our plan was, and we'll go from there. So, but I would love to interview those guys. I think that they're incredibly talented. Way Forward has done,
I agree,
a bunch of incredible games. Like I've said it so many times on the show, when you see Way Forward on a game, like I automatically feel like it's going to be a higher quality game because they're working on it. You know, because I've seen so many great things that they've done.
They are fans of games making games for fans of games.
Exactly. Yeah, they're nerds. They're the Albinis of developers. So yeah, Bombcats, I already talked about that. So yeah, the big one that I got was Endless Ocean. I bought Endless Ocean Luminous. Last week we talked about actually, I mean, I like this game a lot, actually. I played it.
I was listening to the NVC podcast while I was mowing my lawn the other day, and it sounded really sad at the end.
I got some bones to pick with Logan Plan on that. I think he was incorrect on a couple things on that episode. I listened to it after I played the game. Number one, as far as I know, the unknown marine life doesn't actually affect the 99 mysteries, which he was talking about on the thing.
Okay,
I've seen like 3 of them, and none of them have done anything for my mystery board. Also, he talked about how you can only play the level like once, but then you have to play another one. That's not true either. You can play one level as many times as you want before you get the 80% and you get the code and all that. You can go back to it as many times as you want. You don't have to automatically start a new one. So he was wrong about that as well. And honestly, like, I like this game. I like this game a lot better than fucking Princess Peach Showtime. I put 7 hours into that. I've already put almost 30 hours into this game. Like, no joke. It's fun.
Are you putting the time in because you like it or because you want to see what happens? Because it sounds like
no. I'm putting no, it isn't though. I'm putting time into it because I like it. I think it's incredibly relaxing, and I fucking love swimming in games. Like the swimming levels in Super Mario 64 are my favorite levels ever. Like Little Big Town, fucking love that level.
That adds up
so much. Like that is one of my favorite levels ever. So I mean, I just love, and I like just reading, just like hearing the descriptions of the fucking fish. And there's so many of them that change their sexes constantly. It's so cool. Fish shit is awesome. Like seriously, read up on it. It's cool. They change their sexes constantly. So all those assholes that are like, no, you can't change your sex. It's like it's in fucking nature, idiot. Like take a look at it. Like seriously, fishes. They do it all the time. It's real.
So do annelids, worms and stuff.
No, I find it incredibly relaxing. And the reason that I've played it for so long is that I spend like 5 hours in one level, just like fucking swimming around looking at shit because I think it's cool. Actually, I will agree with what he said about the mystery board, because I don't think it necessarily needs to be in there. Like this is the way I feel about it. So there's the story mode. I don't give a shit about the story mode. I don't even like the online mode. Like I played the online mode with other people, and it's too fucking fast. Everybody else is way too fast. Like they'll go find everything before you do. It's like playing Monster Hunter when you really suck, and they go and they kill the monster and they carve it before you ever get there, and you don't get anything. That's kind of how it is. So it's like, because you do this thing where you'll have to find these different fish, and if you have other people with you, they'll find all of them, and then they'll find the UML, the unidentified marine life or whatever, and you won't even get to look at it because it'll be done by the time you get there. It's just you don't get the slowness to soak it up, and I like it. I like just playing it single player.
See what you did there.
I like just playing it single player and just scanning fish and just listen to them tell me about shit. There's so many different fucking things in there. Like I've learned a lot. Like you could find rock lobsters. They're in there. There's a bunch of them. They're all over the place. I know you like that song. We all do, from Donkey Kong.
I do like that song.
But I think the game is great. And no, seriously, I've already put like almost 30 hours into it just because I just didn't want to play anything else. And I read the reviews of Endless Ocean, and I was kind of on the fence of it. But then I watched a stream of it. I watched somebody play it, and I was like, I want to play that game. So that's what happened to me. So I bought it for $50, and yeah, I was saying I like it a lot better than Princess Peach, which I beat in less than 2
like
hours.
how your opinion of Princess Peach keeps going down and down every week with every new game that comes out.
I'm just saying that. I mean, it was a fine game. I'm never gonna play it again.
I'm sad that it was like a mediocre game when it could have been Peach's like time to shine.
I mean, she's
just gonna kind of
throw
her on the back burner even more now.
The problem that I have with Princess Peach is that everybody was building it up so much, and they're forgetting about really incredible games like Yoshi's Crafted World and Kirby and the Forgotten Land, which are like 100 times better than that game. Like, but they already put those to the side because those are kiddie games or whatever. And then you get this one, and they're like, oh, it's brilliant. I was like, like, yeah, I don't know. If you put that next to, like I said, you put that next to Kirby and the Forgotten Land, like, I mean, Kirby and the Forgotten Land is a fucking platinum, like next to that one. Like it was already a good game, but Princess Peach, I don't got the snuff for that game.
I'm perfectly fine with not being like the demographic, and it's a fine game for people that are going to play it, much like I am about the Mario movie. Like, you know what I mean? It's like, okay, this game wasn't made for me, and I probably won't ever play it. If I do, it'll be like I get a hold of it used, or it's super cheap, which it won't be ever. But
yeah, I mean,
I just like or they'll re-release it eventually.
Yeah, I mean, you'll probably be able to find it physical for like $30 or something like that. Like physical, it'll go cheaper. Digital, no, but physical.
I just don't have much interest in playing it. Like I would get Forgotten Land before that, and I still don't play that game.
You should, because it's better. It's much better than that one. It's definitely a lot longer too, and it's got so much more depth to it. There's so much more to do. But no, Endless Ocean, like I like it a lot, but I don't know. I don't think it needs like an end or it needs like a story or whatever. I like just doing what I expect from an Endless Ocean game. I like just swimming around and just looking at fish. That's what I like about it. I don't need a story. And the story is kind of dumb. It's funny because it has like the world coral in there, which is obviously the world tree, but it's underground or it's underwater, Right. It's fucking every Ys game. It's every fucking Dragon Quest game. Isn't that like a Jewish icon? Also the world tree and all
Yggdrasil, Yggdrasil or whatever.
Yeah, Yggdrasil. Yeah. So I thought that was funny. And when you scan things, you get this like light. You get these light pellets that level you up or whatever. And apparently that light is helping you to rebuild the coral underwater. Yeah. All of the story stuff, I was just like, I don't care. But the mystery board kind of like intrigued me a little bit because I just, I have so there's 99 things you have to find on the mystery board to unlock the final mission of the game. And I guess that's how you beat it. And, but I don't understand like people's obsession with the mystery board. Like, what is this like race to beat it? Like, wasn't Endless Ocean supposed to be, we just swim around and look at fish?
From what I heard from the podcast I listened to.
Also, he never played any of the other ones. No,
I heard you have to complete the mystery board to finish the game.
You do, but who
mode.
cares? I'm just saying, Endless Ocean was never it was about swimming and looking at fish. It was not about it was never about stories or finishing the game. Like what is the rush to the end here? It was supposed to be about fucking relaxing and looking at dolphins. That's all it was ever about.
Wow.
So why
this
can't
person
it be
was
that?
obviously doing it for a review, and
I know, and
felt,
and he was
felt the
obsessed,
review crunch,
and
and
he was obsessed about getting to the end, but that's not what the game is. And it's much better when you don't treat it like that. When you just let it be a fucking game.
So. How does it look though?
I think it looks great. I mean, I don't have a PS5, so I mean, there's no like real time sweat or anything like that. But I mean,
I'm saying, do you want to like eat the fish because they look so realistic? Like they'd be delicious
some
sushi, or
I don't know. Those crabs look pretty tasty. And there are a lot of crabs in there. There's even crabs that walk.
Says a lot.
There's even crabs that walk forward and not sideways. They exist. I didn't know that until this game.
Mm-hmm.
Just learned it. But no, I just like reading about fish and looking at them and taking pictures and all that. It's fun. No, I just like just looking around, and I know Logan also said that he saw everything in the first 2 hours. I disagree with that because I went through like so I got to like 80% exploration of one level, and I was like, all right, well the next one is going to be the same thing, right? But it wasn't. It had this whole underground part with all these prehistoric fish that like don't exist anymore. That was all like, and I was like, oh fuck, this is way different than the last one. That's cool, So. And there's different.
It's kind of like the end of Dave the Diver.
Yeah, it actually kind of made me want to play stuff like Dave the Diver and Subnautica again, just because I liked swimming underwater so much in that one. I was like, oh, I've always liked that. I always liked underwater games, and yeah, it's like whatever. And I don't even listen.
As long as it's not Sonic.
I don't even. Yeah. Water doesn't work well for Sonic, and I don't even listen to podcasts or anything. I like because I want to listen to it because I want to hear the descriptions of the fish and all that, which it reads to you. And and you have to scan a certain amount of fish to unlock the story mode. But like I said, I could give a fuck about the story mode. I really don't.
Oh, so it has like a bunch of voice acting in it just to read descriptions.
Yeah, the voice acting is like the voice in your helmet or whatever that talks to you. It's like supposed to be this. Okay. But it'll
an AI or something
like that. Yeah. But it'll describe the fish to you. But I like that because I don't want. Because my inner monologue isn't as good. Sometimes I want things to be read to me, so I prefer that. But what I found intriguing about the mystery board is that like nobody's completed it. Like I went to Reddit just because there's 99 pieces. I got 30 of them just from playing the game regularly. And if you want to find more, like I said, play with other people online. They will find the shit for you. They will mark it on the map. You can find it easier. But it's not confirmed that anybody's actually got all the way through on it, and I think that's kind of cool that this game has been out forever long and nobody's beaten it.
The game's procedural, so
I think it's kind of interesting. Well, the difficult part about the mystery board, which Logan never even mentioned this in his review, but there's these like discs that you find, and you have to you basically have to get fish to follow you to the disc to open the disc to unlock part of the mystery board. And what people have run into is the 99th section of the mystery board. You have to find the specific fish and the specific disc, and they're not always in the same level because everything is procedurally generated.
Right.
And it was hard to find those parts fit together. But honestly, I don't think you should try to rush to the end. I think you should just.
I'm just saying, an unbeatable game is.
You should just swim and look at shit. But I mean, but I don't want to beat it. I just want to swim around and look at shit. I don't need. I mean, you only want to beat games when you give a shit about the story, and there's no story here. Like they've always been about swimming and looking at stuff.
But if they put a story in there,
like did you
don't make it impossible to beat?
I don't know. Did you want to beat Wii Bowling? Like it was fun to just bowl, right?
If there was a story mode, I would have played through it, and if it at the end it was like
if it was a story mode,
it was like throw your ball into the back so hard that a pin comes out and then lands perfectly up again, and that's how you win. And like, no, that's never going to happen. I can never win this game.
Somebody can win it, apparently. I mean, on the Reddit, they said that on some Discords, people have claimed to win it. So I just find that interesting. But I mean, I don't give a shit. I just wanted to buy the game.
Pixar, it didn't happen.
Yeah, I just wanted to swim around and find it, and maybe I'll beat it, maybe I won't. Who cares? I'm not to the race to the end. I just want the middle part. It's all about the journey.
You might be a very
not
specific fan that
There are a lot
Yeah.
of people that like it out there.
Maybe there's something to be said about that.
I have
Maybe
seen them. There's a lot of people online.
What's that game
like
that
the
everyone liked on or what was it?
Devil's Third? I like that game
Devil's
too.
Third, yeah.
I like that game too. I thought it was fun.
Maybe this is a new Devil's Third.
Yeah. Well, yeah, Devil's Third. I mean, that game was just weird, but it was fun. I mean, it was a 3D. I mean, it was 3D action mixed with first person shooter. Like nothing. There's nothing else exists like that. Like I thought it was. It's just a weird ass game, and I like the ridiculousness of it. But it was fun. I don't know. Whatever. I mean, we'll see what I say about it next week. But like I said, I already put 30 hours into it, and not because I don't want to play it. It's because it's been the only thing I've wanted to play. I mean, you can see my amount of games that I played here. I don't even have anything about Balatro in here because I haven't played it this week.
Well,
but you have, so talk about it.
That's the thing. I can talk about that because I have played it a lot, and
even though one thing that I do think
it might be becoming problematic, to be honest.
There are a couple of things. I do think it would be really cool if you could use the Labo for Endless Ocean and play it in VR, because I think it's really pretty, and I would like to see it in 3D. I thought that would be cool.
Yeah.
Also, because the levels are kind of pieced together like procedurally, I wish that there was the option for you to like choose parts and kind of make your own level. Like there is like one thing in the story mode where you do this like underwater frozen like water that looks really cool. I'm like, why can't you use that in like the regular game? It's kind of like AEW Fight Forever all over again, where it's like you play through the story mode and you see these really cool match types, but you can't play them in the rest of the game. That's kind of how some of the story mode has been, where it's like, oh, I really like this level. Why don't you let me do this on the other game? And you can't. So I wish that you should get to a point, like Pilot Wings, where you could be like, all right, well, I want to do this one at dusk, or I want to do this one at dawn, or I want to, like do it at different times and like have it look different ways. Like I think that would be cool where maybe you could unlock the ability to be like, all right, well, I want to have a ship here, and I want to have this a tunnel here that goes over here, and like where you could take the parts and put them together. I guess maybe like make your own maps would be cool too. But I don't know. I'm having fun with it. Like I said, I bought it because I wanted to play it. I knew that there was probably other games that I could get that were higher reviewed, but I didn't care. I wanted to play that one, so that's what I got, and that's what I played for a week was Endless Ocean. So you should do whatever you want. There's a lot of terrible things out there. You can still enjoy them, even though other people don't like them.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm sure there's all sorts of terrible reviews of Terra Firma. That's one of my favorite movies of all time. So who cares?
Hey, I think it's great you like it, and maybe you're the kind of fan they need to make Endless Ocean 3, where you can only win if you buy the one copy that has the correct solution in it. But people will still try.
I mean, it's
buy
still,
multiple copies.
It's not
because they're fans.
Yeah, I mean, it's still on like it's still up there on most sold games of the whatever on the eShop. So people are still buying it. So it doesn't really matter.
I guess if you're playing a game like that, you don't want to ever get your head above water.
You can't. They won't let you. So, yeah. But it's fun. I mean, if you want a slow-ass game where you can just swim around and look at fish. I mean, there's no ending to Animal Crossing. Nobody cared about that. I mean, we weren't racing to the end of that. We got the credits once we saw KK the first time.
I was kind of.
I wasn't racing to the end of that.
I was
game.
trying to pay my house off as quick as I could, that kind of thing.
Yeah, but it was still fun to play. I mean, I don't know. I put over 500 hours into that game. We'll see how many I put in this. But like I said, I already got like 30, which is way more than I expected. I put like 10 hours like in the first 2 days, just because I like exploring things. I like unlocking boxes that say that I explored a certain percentage of stuff. And I like scanning fish and be like, oh yeah, that guy. Yeah, never seen that one before. There's so many different stingrays. I didn't know that stingrays were almost extinct. I didn't know that. I learned that from that game. Learned a lot of things.
I didn't know that either.
Yeah, I'm in here for the education of Endless Ocean, endless education.
Is it because someone's out there hunting them all down because they killed the crocodile hunter?
I don't know. I mean, a lot of it's like overfishing. Like they talk about that.
Oh, okay.
And there's also like different. They also talk about like how different fish can only survive in certain environments and some
right.
And there are some that can only exist in clear waters, and they're almost extinct because of that, which makes me sad, obviously, because of pollution.
A lot of
and all
fish
that.
have really complicated like spawning cycles, and it depends on going to different spots and
There's a lot of stuff to it, but the
stuffing.
the
Right, yeah.
what I thought was pretty, the coelacanth, or what I used to call the coelacanth, which you can catch in Animal Crossing and Dredge, I think. The coelacanth actually lives over 100 years, which is insane. Like that just kind of blew my mind that a fish could live that long.
Supposedly there's sharks in the ocean around Greenland that are like hundreds of years old.
Oh, and there's so many fucking sharks in this game too. Like there's a billion different sharks, and like whale sharks, and there's like a guitar shark too. Like seriously, there's all this shit that I just didn't even know existed, and I was like, oh, look at that, that's fucking cool. Yeah, no, I like learning about them. I mean, I don't know, I think fish is really interesting. So
also, lobsters might technically be immortal depending on how they molt, and
there's a lot of lobsters in there too, lots of them.
Well, at least you're learning something, because the game I've been hooked on this week is still Balatro.
Oh, and oh my god, one more thing. Sorry, the Thanatos shark. That thing fucking terrifies me every time I see it. I know it can't kill me in the game, but it looks like it can. Like it's so huge, and it's got all blood all over its place. Oh my god, it's so freaky. But yeah, Balatro. No, it's terrifying. I don't like that. I don't like that fish or mammal or whatever the fuck it is.
It's a fish.
Yeah, but Thanatos, the like ultimate killer shark, that thing is frightening. It terrifies me even in Endless Ocean. The chill game, it still scares the fuck out of me.
Well, all I had to say about Balatro, which I keep bringing up, I've been playing it way too much, and I've been trying to like get to where I don't play it as much, to where I just like kind of play it to wind down before I go to bed. But I'm still probably playing it too much. I don't think it's very much fun to watch. It's just one of those games that playing on the big TV. It's definitely, it doesn't make as much sense. So I've been trying to play it in handheld more.
It's not fun to watch for me even, and I'm playing it. Again, I know it's incredibly boring.
Well, here's the thing:
somebody to sit and watch.
I put a lot of time into it, and I started because it was on. I'm pretty sure it's on PS Plus. So I have it there as well. So I'm actually. I think it is. But anyway, I'm playing it on my phone with remote play, and I know I could just play it on the Switch.
Yeah, and you could play a scam version of it too.
Right. But I don't know. I like it as a game to kind of defrag with before I go to sleep. But the problem is I've gotten to the point where I'm always thinking about like poker hands again, which is like reminding me of back when I used to be really at a Texas Hold'em like 10 years ago, almost 20 years ago at this point. And I was playing these like low stakes $1, $2 games back in the day, but like we were just all obsessed with it because it was like kind of the rage at the time. And I don't know. I don't necessarily like thinking about poker hands all the time again. And I've gotten to the point where like when they flop a hand at me, I immediately see whether or not I have something, and I'm like, damn it. But it gets a lot more fun the more time you put into it, because you unlock more cards, and then they start like, I don't know, maybe I'm lucky, but it seems like the more powerful stuff showing up earlier now. And also like one big thing is that I learned you need to skip the blinds. And I never did that before. I
did kind of fuck around with skipping blinds a little bit, because they give you like bonuses for skipping blinds, which is cool.
The only reason that I actually finally did it, and I think that's one of the reasons the Jokers are so great, is because it kind of like the Jokers reveal like the intricacies of the game to you, and then you learn you can like chain them together to like make crazy combos out of them, and then it even goes down to like the order and how they are arranged like in a line at the top of the screen. But like I had a run where there's this card called the egg, and it just like gets more valuable every time you complete a round.
Oh yeah.
And then eventually I got a card where when it destroys it, like you put the card to the right of it, and then if you choose blind, that card destroys the card to the right of it, and then it becomes double multiplier of whatever the store value of that card was. And man, that was a good run. That was so fun. It's just little things like that. Like I'll just be kind of bored and I'm playing it, and then all of a sudden I just get this crazy like run of cards that work really well together, and then I'll be having so much fun, and then all of a sudden there's just this one hand where they're like, everything you've put your investments into is debuffed this round, and then I'm like, damn it, I'm gonna lose now. But I've tried a bunch of different things, like you said. One of the big things is to get your multipliers on your jokers. So if it's saying like you're gonna get like a chrome or a polychrome joker, you should always take the blind. I've learned. Yeah, I don't know. This game is just like, one of the big reasons I have so much fun with it is I've gotten to the point where I'm like trying to predict what my score is going to be before it tells me, and I've gotten pretty good at that. To where I'm like, I'm going to play this hand, and then I'm trying to predict what the score is going to be, and then like, I don't know, it's fun. It's just a bunch of math happening, and it's all these little endorphin bursts in my brain happening while I'm playing it.
Seems like it's just kind of about getting you into a rhythm or something.
Yeah, and you create your own rhythm, and then you like try to maintain it.
A lot of it for me was like, it was just the crazy multipliers, and be like, oh my god, I got like 20,000 off of whatever, 2 pairs or whatever, and you can make stuff that really wouldn't mean that much normally, mean a lot. But I've still only gotten to level 15, and there was one where I like had crazy multipliers all over the place, and then I got to level 15, and it's like one hand. And I did like this incredible hand, but it was still like 5 points away from winning, and I was like, like I've still not gotten past round 15. So, but I tried doing some of the skip stuff too, and that adds another layer of complexity, and it's pretty cool.
So if you don't do any skips, I've learned round 9 is kind of where you just kind of gotta push your way through it. It's really boring up to that point, but if you can get past round 9, that's usually when things start to get fun.
Yeah.
And then likewise, if you're doing the skips, it's usually at ante like 4 when it starts to get fun.
Yeah.
So like I've gotten into sort of a rhythm where I'll be like, all right, well, I just lost. I'm going to play again, but like I'm not going to enjoy it for the first 5 minutes or so. And it'll be like that. But every once in a while, this crazy rare card will show up, and then I'm like, oh shit. And then I'm like back into it.
What do you mean you're not going to enjoy it? Like you're going to punch yourself in the face like while you're trying to play it, or what? Like you're going to torture yourself. You're like, I will not have fun. I'll pull my hair while I'm playing this game.
Well, no, because it's kind of joyless, because all you're doing is kind of existing until you can kind of build up enough money or build up enough multipliers.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
start to like really get that, it's like building up your levels in Castlevania to the point where you're just like, the Metroidvania versions where you're just like tearing through stuff. It's much like that.
Like Circle of the Moon, where you just hold B and you just swing the whip around and it just kills everything.
Generally, it takes at least until round 9 or ante 4 before I'm like having fun again. But every once in a while, it'll be like, I won't even like face the first boss yet, and it'll be like, give me this crazy rare joker, and then all of a sudden I'm like dominating for like 20 minutes and I almost beat it, but I have actually not finished it again. I haven't finished the boss blind again since.
I figured you had probably done it again.
I have not. I've gotten to the boss and I've failed like 3 or 4 times.
What I think is really intriguing, like what you're talking about, what I think is really cool about skipping blinds, like you're saying, like, when you start again, it's like, all right, well, I need to make enough to get enough like stuff to make my hands better or whatever. But skipping blinds, it'll be like, if you skip the first one, it'll be like, all right, well, all the next stuff will be free, so you can automatically like upgrade yourself
when you get that
without owning anything. And well, that's what it did every time I skipped it, and I was like, okay, well, I get it now. That's cool. So you can like go farther. We'll be like, well, what if you didn't make anything? And we'll give you whatever you get on the next round, but it'll also be like another level of chance of like what they'll give you on this round. And I think adds another layer of complexity and coolness to this game.
Yeah, one thing it'll do is the amount of like money you have, for every $5 you have in your account at the end of a hand, you get $1 back. Like it's called interest. And you can there's actually a deck you can play where you don't get interest, but you could play a joker that'll change the cap of your interest, and it'll get to the point like I had almost $150 one time and then I just lost a round. I'm like, damn it. But like I literally like had so much money that I just could buy everything. And that's a good feeling, you know? That's just like I feel like I was playing like a good RPG and got to the end because of smart decisions I made, but it's all happening in the span of like 10 to 15 minutes. And it's so addictive, and I don't know. I gotta back off a little bit because I love it too much, I think.
It seems so. I mean,
I get hooked on these games, but like
it's a good game. Like it's. I mean, I'm not arguing. Yeah, I'm saying I know it's a damn good game. Like I enjoyed it as well. Like I think it's done really.
I'm
well.
actually kind of happy the iPhone version isn't that good because
it could still be fun though. I mean, it looks like shit, but I've still had a lot of fun playing that shitty iPhone version. So just because I've gotten really far on it, and I like, it's the same thing. It's just doesn't have all the pizzazz and the pretty.
Every time you play it, you know a little bit more, and you're like thinking ahead more, and eventually you're like strategizing like moves ahead, and there's just this game's so deep. I totally get why people love it.
It's good.
Another game I've been playing this week though, and I mentioned it in the top as well. I mentioned this one as well because I said I was skipping blinds, but also this game called Pacific Drive, which I read about a couple months ago. I think it came out a few months ago, but it was on PlayStation Plus as well. And I wanted to try it, so I bought it. And it's essentially like a post-apocalyptic Minecraft kind of game, but you have a car. And the car is like almost, I wouldn't say like it's like Knight Rider, but it's similar in the fact that it's like a character of its own. So you're not like having conversations with it, but you have to maintain it. Like it's another health bar you have, and it's like part of your character, and you have to take care of the car. You literally have to like go out and salvage resources and then manufacture like panels for your car and new tires and patches. And it's not that fun when it comes to that kind of stuff. But the really cool is like exploring in the car, because you're in a car. So you're pretty safe, you're also.
Are you ever out of it? Or can you jump out of the car? Or are you just always?
Oh, you can get out of the car whenever you want.
Did you ever?
The car is like.
Did you ever play the Mad Max game on PS4? It kind of reminds me of that a little bit because you have a car that you have to maintain and you have to. I really like that game a lot until there's a point of the game where it just breaks, it just falls apart, and all the frame rate gets really, really bad, and I just couldn't play it.
Yeah.
But I loved it. Like I played it for a good like 30 hours, and then I got to that part, and I'm like, I can't play that. And I even looked up online, and a lot of people were like, "Will they ever fix this?" And they never did. But I bought tickets to Furiosa, so I'm excited for that because Mad Max is awesome.
So there's not much of a story to this game. It takes place in 1998, which I think is kind of cool because everything about it, like you get like this crazy technology that has like kind of a Fallout sort of vibe to it, where it's like it looks like it's from 1998, but it's more advanced or whatever. And the whole thing is like kind of like another one of those alternate history things like Fallout, where there was some like atomic tests carried out in Northwest, like Pacific Northwest in the 40s, and then like they ended up having to block off part of the testing site, and then over the next couple of decades, subsequently, like over the next 50 years or whatever, the fence kept getting bigger and bigger. And it was basically like, you can't go in here. And it was blocked off from the public. And I'm a delivery driver. That's your character. You're a delivery driver. So that's how the game starts. And you're taking like a package somewhere, and you happen to drive along the fence, and this weird like black hole kind of thing sucks your car in and spits you out inside of the fence, and your car is just in pieces everywhere. You look around, you find a car, and it turns out this car is like this special like thing that's like linked to you in some quantum way. There's some sort of like quantum mechanics science stuff happening in this game too, where the landscape's always changing, and it's going to chew you up if you're in the wrong spot at the wrong time, because it's like it's like altering itself. I don't know. It's crazy post-apocalyptic sci-fi, and I'm having a good time with it so far, but the taking care of the car is extremely like detailed. Like you literally have to like pop the hood, go in and like change out parts of the engine and stuff. Like it's maybe a bit too much for me, I gotta say. But I do really like when I finally fix up my car, it sends me off on a mission and then I go somewhere. And so far the only enemies I've run into besides like just the landscape itself can like change randomly and then you'll like run into something or it'll like throw you up in the air because like a big spire of rock sticks out of the ground or something randomly. But otherwise there's just these robots that kind of remind me of the guardians in not the ones that patrol in Breath of the Wild, but the ones that like fly around. They're kind of the same thing. If they see your car, they'll come over and they'll try to magnetize it and like pick it up. And essentially they just like keep damaging it until it breaks. And if the car breaks, you lose the game. It's part of your health bar. So yeah, it's a very interesting game. I don't know if I love it, but I might try a little bit more of it. What else? Let me see. Let's look at these notes. Because that was really like between Balatro and that game, that's most of what I played this week. And then I did boot up, of course, I booted up the emulator I keep talking about, Delta every week. And one thing I did this week was I, just for fun, I'm sure I've shown this on the show before. I bought this like a year or two ago, but it's like this tiny 8-bit
controller.
I think it came out in conjunction with the DS Lights, and the colors kind of match the different models of the DS Lights.
Small enough to if you could put it in your palm and you can make
it's literally a keychain. It's like half the size of it.
I remember seeing it and I was like, why? Who wants it? I guess you could pretend you have a Game Boy Pocket or a Game Boy Micro, but without a screen.
Yeah, it was like a lightning deal on Amazon a year or two ago, and I bought it for $5 or $10. I mean, I probably still paid too much for it, but I mean, it's old enough. It has like a micro USB thingy on it, but I was able to easily hook it up to the Delta, and I propped my phone up and I played through Mario World. I played like 30 minutes of Mario World, and it played perfectly. I didn't notice any sort of lag and was having a really good time with it. So who knows? I actually have this phone stand, this grip on my phone that's magnetic. So I could literally just walk up, stick my phone to any magnetic surface, and then just start playing Mario. I don't know. That's kind of funny. It's like a different definition of a portable. It's all because of this thing.
There it is. I remember seeing it online. I guess I don't think I ever realized how small it was. I just was like, that just looks like a Super
I've lost
Nintendo
it multiple
controller.
times for months and then found it. Like I think I originally wanted to show it on the show after I bought it, and I lost it.
Couldn't find it
right after I bought it, and for like several months because it's so little.
It's like it go on a keychain.
It could.
Yeah, I need to like attach it to the Switch case or something. I think it's probably what I'll do because it works great. I mean, there's
teeny
minimal lag, or if any, and I mean the buttons don't feel super great, but it does just feel like a shrunken down SNES controller with like the kind of dog bone shape.
That's what it looks like. Also,
pretty cool though. I was gonna say I don't know if I had much else to say. I just wanted to kind of show off my tiny controller and that I played a little bit of Fallout 4, but mostly just because it came out. Like it's on PlayStation Plus as well.
The PS5 update.
They did the next gen update, and the mouths on the characters are still like so creepy how they move. But I played enough to like get out of the vault and like explore a little bit. And having been watching the show, which I think we just finished episode 6, we're almost done with it. It's note for note pretty much the same. Like it's a different era, but they really did match Fallout 4 perfectly with like the aesthetics and stuff. And I gotta say, in playing the show, I actually was like skeptical of something that happens, or in playing the game, I was skeptical of something that happens early on because of the show, and I turned out to be right. So the show was probably making a reference to Fallout 4, and yeah, that's about it for Fallout 4. But I don't know. If you have a PS5, play Fallout 4. Just do it if you want, just for a little bit.
Or if you got a PS4, it's on there too.
It's like playing the TV. Oh yeah, you could do that.
It was a PS4 game.
I did want to say, going back to Delta, I did finally get some DS games working on my phone. So mostly the one I've done the most is the Korg one that you could download on DSi. It's basically just like a little synthesizer, like looper kind of thing you can do, and it's fun. A sequencer, that's what it is. It's like a sequencer synth. It doesn't have much like on the surface, but it's fairly deep if you know what you're doing, and you can totally use it just with the touchscreen on the phone. You don't need to like hook a controller up. So I thought that was cool. Same with Phantom Hourglass. I think you mentioned that last week, Trey. I could just play that. I didn't play very much of it, but I could totally just play it without a controller.
I haven't played that one yet, but I was talking about like playing DS games that don't involve buttons really.
The touchscreen response is perfect.
Because I played Star Fox Command on there because that's one of my favorite Star Fox games ever. Not enough people talk about that game. Well, it's basically Star Fox 2 again, but with 2 screens. It was pretty amazing when I saw Star Fox 2 and I was like, oh my God, that's Star Fox Command. It's the same game. But it doesn't have like 15 endings or F-Zero.
What I noticed with the DS games, and maybe there's some setting I can change, I couldn't find it. But if I don't have a controller attached through Bluetooth to the phone, it makes me look at the shell of the DS, no matter whether it's a landscape or portrait, and it just makes the screen like really tiny. And I know that's fine. It's probably like fairly accurate to the size of those actual screens.
Yeah.
But I also like once I put the backbone on, even if I'm not using the backbone, it's just attached, like it splits the screen in half vertically. And I get these nice two, well ratioed screens that take up more of my like real estate on my phone and don't show the shell. So I just wish I could do that, set my phone down, and just do it that way without the shell of the DS around it, because I think that's silly. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mentioned whenever we talked about this, I wish that you could flip the screens when you do it like horizontal, because if you're left-handed like me, I wish you could swap the.
It does let you change left and right hand on some games, but I don't think it.
But that doesn't change
the orientation.
But
it doesn't.
It doesn't matter. Well, yeah, you can say that, but it's not going to do anything for you because you need the screens to be on one side or the other. So that's annoying for me. But whatever.
But I still think it's super cool. Like I said, like something like Korg, the Korg like mixer. Like how cool is that you can have a free little synth game that you can download that. Well.
And also there was
it shouldn't be free, but how the hell else are you going to get it? You can't download DSiWare anymore.
There was also well, I mean, I don't think Korg was DSi actually. I thought it was a full release, actual physical release.
This said DSiWare, like when I downloaded it, it was like a.
But I mean,
I think there was like a truncated version that they did.
Well, maybe that was a different version.
That was like multiplayer.
But I saw a real.
You're right, Jeremy.
I saw a full Korg version that was like.
This is the DSi one that I got.
Okay, maybe there's different versions. Because I saw one that was like a cart that you got for DS.
Oh yeah, there was that. The 3DS had the same thing, and then they also had a version you could download that was like a different version. Like Korg was just trying to like see what they could make off of it as a device, and I don't know how much money they made, but they were charging way more than they should have been for most of that stuff.
A couple $100, right?
I don't think it was quite like that.
No,
it was.
Not for the cartridge. I thought it was just regular.
No, it was like full price game.
It was a full game price.
Being like more of a toy than a game. I feel like it should have been priced.
Yeah, it's not really. It's a tool. Yeah, it's like how well can you create music? That sort of thing. It's like the electroplankton of its time. Oh, we should download that.
The DS.
We should
had it built.
We should get that on our phones. Remember electroplankton?
No. I was actually thinking about that.
Yeah, I should get that.
You could definitely not,
because that one was really hard to. I remember it was like released just directly from Nintendo, and then it was hard to find, and it was expensive after that. Like I'd love to play that game.
They also did a DSi version of it.
They probably did. They did DSi version of everything.
It was
since you can get DSi, you can play the Dragon Quest Tactics game that was pretty good. That was on DSi. Also, there's all those art style games on DSi that were really good too.
Yeah, I'm looking for like games that are mostly touchscreen, just because.
Oh, and the
golf
golf game,
hooking anything up.
True Swing Golf was really, really good. That was a really good touch only golf game. True Swing Golf on DS. I love the shit out of that game. It got shit because it looked bad, but who the fuck cares? You're golfing really well. Who cares what it looks like? You can like swing like fucking champions. No, I love the controls of it. Were so good. It was almost too good. Like you could be like, holy fuck, I'm like Tiger Woods or something. Like no, it was. Yeah, I played the shit out of that game because it just controlled so well. But John,
but might I recommend, if you don't want to buy a Backbone, which I mean I love my Backbone, don't get me wrong, but you could look for something silly like this 8BitDo controller, and you might be able to get a pretty good deal on it, and it's gonna serve the same purpose. You're just gonna have to set your phone down, but you're gonna be able to play like a lot of stuff. You won't be able to play 64, but everything else it'll work with.
I like my Backbone, but it's a little sore right now, so we should wrap this up. You know, well, John, tell us about.
I will, sure. So Manifold Garden is the only game that I played this week, and man, this is a game I got it like Manifold.
It was spawned. Well, I mean, it was because of our 420 episode last week, right? Because you were talking about trippy games.
It was because of that, and then I played Stanley Parable, which is another first person puzzle type game.
Yeah, I figured it kind of. I figured it kind of inspired you because you were talking it up a lot, and you're like, "Oh, I should get back to that," and then you did get back to it. So
no, you did.
I'm deep in it. So, one thing I forgot to elaborate on last week, for those who don't know much about the game, is not only does it repeat infinitely, levels repeat infinitely in 3D space, but so the garden of the title is actually in the center of the game. So once you beat a certain area, you'll progress, and you there's sort of like a quote unquote sort of boss puzzle, and you'll know when it hits, because like the thunder hits, all the colors are gonna change, everything starts getting more dramatic, it's raining and all that. Once you complete this puzzle, you find yourself in the garden, and you defeated that side of the garden. Now you proceed to the next portion, which is represented by a different color, right? And to backtrack just a little bit, I forgot to mention last week that the game is about shifting gravity. You're moving around in the space by shifting gravity, and you're shifting gravity into 6 different planes, like as if you were inside a giant cube, right?
Mm-hmm.
And each side of the cube, that gravity is represented by a specific color. So when you approach a wall, when you get within like 3 feet of a wall, you're going to see your cursor, your center cursor, your reticule turns to a specific color. And so if I walk up to the wall and the reticule turns red, and then I click the ZR button, now gravity changes so that down is according to the red part of the cube. Gravity flows to the red part of the cube, right? So that's how the game works mechanically.
So 6 faces of cube, and
6
the
faces
down
of
is
cube.
changed by the color.
That's correct. That's the basic gist of the puzzling, the mechanics, and all that. And so when you defeat one section of gravity, when you defeat that red section of gravity, whatever, now you find yourself back in the garden, and it's clear that you've defeated the red section. You start to see red colors and all stuff. So, but what I didn't piece together, because I've never beat the second portion of the gravity, I never pieced it together. Actually, it never just dawned on me that the game doesn't just repeat infinitely per room that you're in, or just per side of gravity that you're in, per color. The entire game is infinitely repeating because of that central room, because that garden that you're in is in the center. the whole. So conceptually, it's just like when I realized that, it was, wow, this is like a real feat of design. The whole game repeats infinitely. You can walk to any section of the game from any other section of the game, and there's no like physical divide keeping you from doing that. It's just everything from that central garden repeats outward forever. And it's yeah, talk about psychedelic games. It's just kind of it is a trippy, mind-blowing type of game. And the more it reveals itself to me, the more I'm just impressed by it. So that's Manifold Garden. I don't know. Is that game interesting?
I want to
you guys
play it.
all?
No,
I want to play it. I really do.
Yeah. Out of all the first-person shooters first-person shooter puzzly ones or whatever, I really like the way Manifold Garden looks. So it's intrigued me for a while.
And along the same lines of the Ocean game, it's just like a meditative experience. I feel like I just dive in and I'm just swimming around in gravity, just changing directions. And
it's only like $20. I mean, it's been like in my mind since you first got it. Like I've thought about. I was like, because whenever I watch footage of it, I was like, oh yeah, that looks really cool. So it is.
I think it's well worth it.
Yeah, it's very
well
much
worth the $20.
I've also learned to trust your game recommendations.
Yeah, it's very much in my. It's
kind of like
very much in my things I should play. But yeah, no, I
will say that
I like that one. I like the way
it has gone on sale for $15 before, but if ever you just feel like you're really in the mood to play it, I mean, $20 is absolutely worth it.
It's the perfect price for me. $20. I'm like, why not?
Yeah, so I've so far put into this save file, because I started over 7.5 hours into it. That's another nice thing. The game actually tracks how much time you're putting into it, and then I don't know, just everything. This game just screams design. I think if you are into game design at all, it's incumbent upon you to play this game, because not only are the levels well designed, it's visually well designed, and then on top of that, it seems like this person who made it, his name is William Kyer. By the way, I remembered his name from last week. That's CHYR. He cut his teeth, first of all, as a physicist. And then after being a physicist, he worked at some particle accelerator, not the big one, but not the large hadron collider. Yeah, no, he worked at some other gliders, if I really understand what that means. But then he also spent a good part of his career doing art installations, which just absolutely, now when I learned that about him, like, this game makes sense. I see who this person is and where this game comes from. It all makes sense, right? So yeah, not only does he have this well-designed game, but he also put this really elaborate photo mode into it. So at any moment, you can just switch the game into photo mode. And I mean, I've never really seen such a in-depth photo mode to where it really feels like a little Photoshop in there. Like, you can put all kinds of filters, and you could, if you're really into photography or Photoshop, you could just play this game that way. You just spend your time perusing around, finding interesting angles, of which there are literally infinite interesting angles in this game, and just change the filters and make interesting pictures with this game. So yeah, I can't recommend it enough. It's a beautiful meditative experience, and I think a one of a kind game, in a genre where these first person puzzlers, they all kind of tend to get compared to Portal. At least I'm guilty of that. I compare them all to Portal. That's sort of the starting point, the founding ground of the genre, right? This one really stands on it, so there's nothing else quite like it. High recommendation.
Well, you've certainly planted a seed for Manifold Garden.
Seed in the garden.
Well put. There you go. Well put. So the other thing that I did this week, besides games, is I started messing around with this AI music creator called Suno. That's SUNO.
Oh no. I guess it's I actually haven't heard anything about AI music yet. Maybe I'm sure you have.
I've heard about it,
Jeremy,
but I
probably.
didn't know there was music prompt stuff yet.
Yeah, I didn't realize it.
I've only done it with visual art and like stories and stuff.
I would say looking over the notes, it kind of sounded like Fruity Loops or something, where you kind of like, piece things together and like Jeremy and I did that way back in the early 2000s, like just throwing stuff together.
I think this is just like you enter a prompt and
you enter a prompt. Yeah, what Trey's referring to is that I put some notes on here about this creator who I came across it like a lot of other things on YouTube. It was recommended by the algorithm. A channel called Obscurest Vinyl.
An AI thing recommended
Obscurest
by AI.
Vinyl. Yep.
The algorithm.
That's how it's going to be.
Don't trust the algorithm.
That's how it's going to be.
Al Gore made it, and I trust him.
He invented the internet.
So this guy, I don't know his name. I couldn't find his actual name, but his YouTube channel is Obscurest Vinyl. He went viral a while back for making.
He went vinyl.
He's a graphic. He's a graphic. He went viral for his vinyl.
His YouTubes are on vinyl now. You can buy.
So he makes. He's a graphic designer, and he went viral a while back for making these funny album covers of these like songs from quote unquote way back when that were hits we all knew and loved. Your grandparents knew.
I've seen some of these.
You've seen these, okay? Yeah. So these are like joke albums that never existed, but he says that. So this was recommended to me. I kind of recognized it from that. I was like, I think I remember this. Clicked on it and come to find out it was an actual song. And like a lot of other people who've discovered this channel, it's like, wait, it's a real song. It's a real, but it's so ridiculous, so off the wall. Like it can't be real. It can't be. So I dug a little deeper. It doesn't take long to find out that it's actually made by AI. And it's an AI called Suno AI, and it is as simple as every other AI that you've heard about recently, where you just enter a prompt. You enter one sentence, and it spits.
Can you say like a style or whatever?
You do, yeah. You can say, make a song
maybe
about
like a calypso
cake
song about birth control or something.
Exactly, and it will do that. It'll write the lyrics, and it'll make the song.
I think the best thing about it though is that it won't like accost you when you're just trying to look through your friends' posts, and you won't just automatically see a picture of something. Like you don't have to experience it, because I keep my phone off 100% of the time, so I don't, the music of it doesn't have to like invade my ears or whatever. Where AI art
proliferating.
Whenever I see AI art, I just want to throw up everywhere. I'm so over it. Like. Just stop. Like it's all stupid. Like nobody gives a fuck. It's like, oh yeah, here.
I had a lot of fun. And
it's like
John, I understand you. It's like just throwing stuff at the wall. See what sticks.
It's like here's Super Mario if it was a Ghibli movie. It's like, who the fuck cares? Like if some actual person drew it, then yeah, maybe I'd give a shit. But I don't. Like, just get out of here. Like that. I don't know. I'm just seeing so much garbage of the AI art that I'm just like.
One of the cool things about this is that you can actually write your own lyrics, and it will sing your lyrics too.
I mean, that's pretty cool. I didn't know about that.
Yeah, and that's what this guy ended up doing. He wrote the lyrics and fed it to the AI and told it what style and what you read about in this Reddit interview that I posted was he did do a little touch ups afterward. He did like add some horns here and there, and because he's a music guy as well.
No horns,
but it is mostly AI generated.
Hey, you used to dislike horns too.
I love horns.
You disliked them mostly your friends 20 years ago.
It is a mostly AI generated song that he made, right? And so I thought these songs were hilarious. And I was then inspired to try and do some of my own, but
at the same time.
So these songs with titles like "I Glued My Balls to My Butthole Again" and "Rubbing and Tugging My Nips."
So Jackass the records.
Pretty much, yeah.
Sounds very sexual.
Some of them are, others are not like that.
I mean, rubbing and tugging my nips is obviously,
listen to that first Mr. Bungle record.
I just thought these songs were really funny. So I went and dug and figured out how this guy made these songs, and found Suno. And I said, what's the first thing I need to actually write? I need to write us a theme song. So I put in a prompt for what was the prompt that I wrote exactly? So I'm paraphrasing.
I was going to say, I mean, coming from the person that edits these podcasts, I always thought that what set us apart from other podcasts is that we don't have a theme song. It's always changing. It's different every time. And that's why we have WART Radio on Patreon, on our Patreon, where you can listen to all these songs that we have in our episode, which are very good every time.
Don't see
you embrace the AI era. So it'll start with the theme song, and eventually will be replaced by the AI. So we won't even have to do the show. So let's kick it off right now, and let's hear the theme song to NintenDomain.
So do you want to like play it up at all? Like, I don't know, like what you put into it to, like, what did you tell them about our show? Like the one host is really annoying and loud and has a big beard. Like, was that what they said mostly?
Hey, don't talk about me that way.
That's what I always feel like. It's like the other two guys are all right, but that one is just annoying. That's what I think of.
The one who does all the work.
That's the one. That's what I always think of when I'm editing the podcast. So it's like those other two guys are fine, but yeah, that one guy, like, get rid of him.
Honestly, I think the same way when I edited the podcast about myself. So I get it.
Yeah, that's what I feel like.
I feel like I interrupt people too much and all that stuff.
Yeah,
I couldn't find the exact prompt that I put in there, but I can remember it. It was something like 8-bit chiptune about NintenDomain, a podcast about Nintendo hosted by Trey, Jeremy, and John.
There you go.
That was actually, I've got the prompt. Hold on 1 second.
I liked the song, but it didn't mention Trey at all.
So the first round for whatever reason I couldn't get it to say Trey. Like it was written into lyrics. You could see it Trey in the lyrics, but it would not say the name Trey.
The AI is writing Trey out.
Always, everyone always cutting me out of it.
So I made another one.
I get no regard. No regard.
Did you have to spell Trey out phonetically or something?
Yeah. It's like an ashtray or an ice,
Tray.
It's like ice tray, whatever. It's like what you put food on. Come on, figure it out.
Don't ask me, ask Trey.
Here it is. Actually, I found it, and it's called NintenDomain. Trey, Jeremy, and John's NintenDomain is what it was called. Yep. Anyway, have fun editing this.
It's better than my description of the show that you can find on the iPhone on the.
I actually paid someone for like a theme song, which I still do have, but we've never used. It's just like a little musical refrain. Sure. I got it on Fiverr.
Yeah, I remember that. Well, I don't know. I like not having a theme song. I mean, well,
themes for segments, but themes for a show itself.
I like having themes for segments, but I always like having a different intro about whatever we're talking about. That's part of the fun.
I do too.
That's why I did that, like doing the WART radio stuff, because
that's why I like editing the podcast when I do, because I get to do whatever I want.
So the song is called Trey, Jeremy, and John's NintenDomain.
Put it on there. But yeah, and then we'll end with that song. But first, we got to say goodbye, all that, and tell everyone to find us on the Twitter at Nintendo.
I won't be on Twitter much longer now that Nintendo's gone.
Yeah, right. And at JMaxDeck, and you can also find us on Blue Sky.
You should make an announcement about that, Jeremy. I'll make posts on Twitter. My services will no longer be available on Twitter as of June 14th.
Like I said, I like Twitter because I have like no family members on there, so I can just be drunk and say shit.
Same.
But speaking of Twitter, our friend Janet just got engaged, which is pretty awesome.
Congratulations. Janet.
I'm very happy for. I know Janet. You're a patron of ours. I'm a patron of yours as well. You're super awesome. I've never met Isaiah, but I always thought he sounded like a very, very cool person. Like, he seemed incredibly supportive. I know he was an admin on your streaming and all that stuff. And cool, that's awesome. Married life is fun.
You've also posted stuff about Isaiah that I don't know. I remember one time you said something about things were just like easy around him, and I don't know. I think that's like the definition of a good relationship, where
He seemed very fucking cool about everything, and and very supportive, and good for you. Awesome. Congrats.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, so you can find us on Twitter and on Facebook. We have a community page on there. You can send us questions and we'll read them on the show and all that stuff. And also youtube.com/NintenDomain podcast. You can find our podcast with a static image, but people really liked our emulation episode. We got some good views on there, and we did get one comment on there because I guess when I introduced it, I said that emulation is somehow legal now, and they're making fun of me for saying that emulation was always legal. But I did respond to it and said, well, yeah, the emulation is legal, but what about games? And then we kind of went from there, and nobody responded.
It's also,
after that, but
stuff changed on the Apple Store, so you were not completely wrong.
We talked about that in the episode, but I just thought it was funny that somebody called me out on YouTube about that, and they were like, they timestamped.
They obviously didn't listen to the whole thing.
They timestamped when I said that, but also I timestamp it as well because I timestamped the editing stuff. So putting it on YouTube, it'll automatically create timestamps as well.
That reminds me, it's time for me to buy stamps.
Anyway, it doesn't matter. It's time for me to wrap up this podcast because I got to get up in a few hours. But anyway, find us in places. Thanks for listening to us. We're your hosts. I'm Trey Johnson.
I'm Jeremy Mikowski.
John Knitter.
And we'll see you next time.
See